I've been bout my papyrus since I've been in it. Put me in the debate, you know I'm gon' win it. If I scream black power, don't get timid. If I say black city, I'm talking about Kemet. If I say black city, I'm talking about Kemet. Primary researching, we done pushed it to the limits. All you dudes finished. The king counting cattle up with brother Reggie. When I'm in Oakland, smoke spoken, bro, they love the Chevy. Back in the day, it was the spokes on the chariot. Long procession when the king got carried out to every spot. Woman looking nice as ISIS. I read ancient texts, so my advice is priceless. Nubian gold, your ice don't entice us. Beating me harder than counting grains in your spices. Your heart was beating, but your brain dead, you're lifeless. Yo, they ain't nothing like us, yo. So when the king got carried out, don't try to make me mad. Make me smile and say you love me, man. That's real right there. Then I speak, come on. You should listen to your main man's advice. Do a YouTube and apologize like Dice. On a back fade coming like the Antichrist. Egyptologists see me reading and said that I'm nice. I got a speller with your name on it. I'm like Sargon. You the type of dude wake up in your car gone. Told, cause of the money you owe. Before you stream, you should clean up that humble abode. Like I'm not in city for my woman in gold. I keep the pseudos running, people coming in droves. You catch me on a live stream with Pan-African James. When we building, call us by our African names. I'm for the children. And ain't nothing happened to change. We on that black hype, so we still packing them things for protection. Got connection, My complexion, pure black, that's the S. Make me smile. You love me? Show me some love. All right.
Yeah. What up? We gonna get the show started cool. You know what I'm saying? I probably could do a concert in my backyard, but I don't know if this is the right neighborhood for that. What's up? I'm gonna go on and play another tune and let's have a little cool little show.
Yeah, and I'ma work cause I ain't going out lazy, bruh. Thought he was conscious, but the homie just played me, bruh. The house of consciousness is going out crazy, bruh. They crazy, bruh. Alright, it's getting kinda dirty in these YouTube streets. The Amin Ra squad, God thinking you dudes weak. Islam or Judaism, where you learn what you dudes teach. The West African rappers slapping with that voodoo speech. All that sub-Saharan terror about a cuckoo feet. I'm like Norma, the agricultural farmer that grew you wheat for the storehouses. We feed the Hebrews and lead the people when we defeat the feeble. They wanna know polite rip me off, but Sonetta paid me my money though. That mean he 100. And I'ma work cause I ain't going out lazy, bruh. Thought he was conscious, but the homie just played me, bruh. The house of consciousness is going out crazy, bruh. They crazy, bruh. Nubian with the Jews, I rock the pinky. I think Jesus got to save me. A doctor save me, a Dr. Inky. I cop the copper jewels on blue and red. I'm not the chakra doctor, y'all claim woke. But you in bed, you won't pop a chopper, you Grandmaster J. You just talking. Punks turn the other cheek and you will walk away. Y'all gon' have to pardon my Moorish. That's Tahaka Bay. I'm on that black African power on my darkest day.
What's up with y'all? Say something when you hit the chat.
Stomping them other punks.
What's up with it?
Them gators to Italy, you loving the Moors. And now I'm teaching from my shrine like Brother Jabari. Scoping the savannah cause I'm on another safari. Tasha K showed us Frank record. Young Pharaoh just losing his mind and y'all can't help him. I know one thing, you're a fool if you're still out here donating to Umar school. That shit through. And I'ma work cause I ain't going out lazy, bruh. Thought he was conscious, but the homie just played me, bruh. The house of consciousness is going out crazy, bruh. They crazy, bruh. Look. You showing your hidden colors like Tariq Nasheed. A bunch of pseudo-information I don't think I need. Probably lying on the text, ask Divine or Zion Lex. Just get that microphone ready. With Metal Netta, I'm Stone Jetty. A Ujahu, a Saw Imhotep. Y'all probably timid still on them Bobby Hemmett teachings. I'm in Gozy with the DNA. Cat's corny and it's killing me too. You talk that black shit, but you look Arab like Gorilla Hebrew. You need therapy, they telling me just chillin', be cool. I'm a magi orchard, you a sad guy talking. And I'm a work cause I ain't going out lazy, bro. Thought he was conscious, but the homie just played me, bro. The house of consciousness is going out crazy, bro. They crazy, bro.
Alright, look, is it another verse? Nah, it ain't another verse. We gonna go on and kick it. Do. What's up with the people? How's everybody doing? We tapped in right now. What's up with it? What's up? You fix your phone screen. New Kemet, what's up? Taiki, Solomonic. Man, I just was up bored. Ain't really got much up. Like, okay, let me get on my late night hype. Feel me? Got a little bit of time. Been working hard and, you know, waiting to see some of the fruits of some moves I'm busting right now. So I'm in one of them. I ain't in no holding pattern, but I'm just like trying to do my thing. What's up with y'all though? Shout out to anybody who watching. I be watching hella YouTube though. I watch a lot of streamers. I've been watching people pages blow up. I've been happy for my man Battle True. I don't know if y'all be watching dude, but he be hella funny. Talking about battle stuff, but when that Remy Papoose stuff took off, he started getting a lot of views. Been cool to watch. You know what I'm saying? I be watching hella YouTube, bruh. I mean, that's all I watch, really. So I noticed certain shows I don't even comment on just because of the vibe of the channel. You know what I'm saying? It might be like some gangster channel. I ain't even commenting or nothing. But I be watching. I watch all y'all channels. I be trying to watch y'all grow. I be watching Solomonic. I watch Grassy. What's Grassy? It's some new channel. Y'all need to start supporting dude. Let me see. Yeah, he went in on Remy. I told you. Let me find this Grassy channel and play some of his content. Because I forgot what his name is. Damn. I was watching one of his videos the other night, so let me see if I can find him in my history. Let me see. Because some of these channels got some good content, but if you worried about who looking and how many, I mean, it's fun to have people in the chat and then have a interactive video. But some of my favorite channels, look at this. I already got 71 views right now. I was watching this when it was live. I was one of the only people in there. But I was like, I don't care. This is some good information. Check out how he was getting it in.
For example, if we look around the world, we see that every civilization...
Hold on, let me tell y'all this page because everybody don't know it. His name is... Where's the page? I'm tripping. Oh. Man, I don't know why I can't... I thought the page name should be somewhere around right here. But it is... Let me click it and see. I don't know how to find the page name. I'm tripping.
It has companion civilizations around it, and that almost never happens where there's one excellent civilization and then everything around it is garbage.
Yeah, Grassy
There's
Sea.
always going to be some extraction. And from what we saw in part 1, we could see that the extraction and the extension of the civilization is so distant that it even reaches Egypt. But as you can see with this image, in the later years, it reaches places like Dongola or Dangola in Sudan. These structures in Sudan have the same history as pretty much every other structure that looks like this in Africa. Now, you might not recognize it at first, it might look strange, But we've also seen this in the Kingdom of Congo, the shape, especially around tombs.
So subscribe to Grassy C if y'all
What
like
is
this
this?
type of content.
Well,
Go
it's
and
a
do it right
tumuli.
now. We ain't
The
doing
tumuli, of
nothing.
course,
Help
being
some of
those
the smaller
structures that
pages.
are foundational to mastabas in Egypt. So that entire region from Congo all the way to Egypt, you have these burial structures which start very low and get elevated in their history.
You know,
While it's absolutely true that
why is it some brothers on YouTube who take their time to make sure it's some good black history disseminated? Because you can't find it in the world, bruh. That's not true. There's a lot of real European researchers who are doing this work for their credit in the academic field. And the result of that is some information that we get to help promote our history, right? Promote correcting history. So when they unearth superstructures like this deep, deep, deep in Africa, so they'll try to tell you this Doogie Gale go back to like something like what, 1600 BC, but its underlying structures and other stuff Manu Ampin found going back to like 8500 BC up in Kerma, right? But I'm gonna let him bust.
Dongala has always been occupied since prehistoric times, it got increasingly occupied when people from Dukigel, from Kerma in general, and from Egypt moved further south,
We'll talk
and
about
they
that auto group.
overpopulated the region or populated it more than it ever had, creating a new type of civilization which would eventually become one of the Christian strongholds of the east of Africa. This then makes us wonder if the people of Dongala, who dress like this, with these cowrie shells on them, the masks, the half waist thing, I don't know if it's called a belt, this waist thing that you see all over Africa, it's tempting to think that this is how a lot of the people living inside of Africa would have dressed for rituals. And usually there's only one of them dressed like this. If you see the full image, there's one and everybody's dressed differently. You will notice that outside of him, everybody else is dressed in white, a very typical color for East Africa. So, for example, Ethiopia, which a lot of them say that the white comes from Hatshepsut arriving there from Egypt. So, Ethiopia, Sudan, and of course, Egypt, they wear this plain white that you see all over the place. Now, it is
That's
wrapped with
cool.
some other colors as well, like red in some cases, but white is the general color, with the exception of the traditional person, which again, this adds validity to the masks of Egypt being a sophisticated version of African masks, something that is overlooked by most people. Remember, masks in the world have not always been used for the exact same reason. It is really in Africa where you see in every form of development, no matter how sophisticated they get, even modern day, you will find this. You can even find videos of it online. In the modern day, masks still hold ritualistic things, which means only specific people can wear those masks, which is not very common in other places around the world. Now, there are some places that have it, but they're so far away from Africa that they don't matter. Origin to those located in Egypt. In fact, it's probable that they started in this type of region and ended up in Egypt.
You
Now,
see?
of course, it's easy to just talk about people traveling from one place to another. It's like, okay, these people went from here and these people went from there. But think about exactly what that means in a real, like a realistic, like if you're just sitting down and thinking about it, you need some kind of catalyst to make sure that you can move from one place to another. So, in this case, what is it? Is it war? I mean, one of the oldest versions of war that we see is in Nubia. We find people warring in 9000 BC, like evidence of skulls that are broken.
There go Kerma right there. And that's Doogie Gale. No, there go the city of Kerma. This is pre-Kerma. Kerma Necropolis. City of Kerma and Doogie Gale.
So
hold on, I'm about to do something we ain't did in a minute. Let me see. I'm gonna go on and just. Somebody want to hit the link? Hit the link. Let me see. I'm gonna go to. Let me hook this up real quick. Give me a quick second. All right, here we go. I can put this on the YouTube. Shout out to 23 people tapped in already. Go and say something in the chat and let's get this video popping on a late night. Let me see. There go a link in case y'all want to build or discuss something. I'm going to pin that message. All right, that's cool. See if I can get back to what we was just watching.
it's important to remember that Kerma was inside a network of civilizations rather than just a single civilization. For example, if we look around the world, we see that every civilization has companion civilizations around it, and that it never happens where there's one.
What's up, Smash?
Hold on, let me see if I can get that camera right. The zoom right. What's up with you?
You ain't see my camera, ain't looking like I have a fingerprint on it, huh?
Oh no, it look brand. You went and bought a whole new phone because that old camera can't do what this one could do.
Here's what really happened. I dropped my phone and broke the screen. And when I changed the screen, I realized there was something was actually wrong with the screen on the back.
That looked like you got upgrade, boy.
Yeah, big upgrade. Hey, I did a video today called How Not to Use Sources, and I used your video. The video that we did together, probably about a half.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I did a papyrus of anyone too. So you can check that out.
Yeah, I'll check it out. I normally tap in sometimes if I'm, falling asleep or laying in the bed. Grab my phone and listen to what Cats is talking about.
Yes, man. That's when you get old, you just do them thing. Fall asleep watching.
Oh, of take 7 o'clock naps and shit. Sometimes I'll take a 7 o'clock nap and that shit will turn to tomorrow, man. I'll be hella mad. Like I might lay down just to lay down for 10 minutes and it'll be tomorrow when I wake up.
Yeah, Smash, man. I'm gonna ease up on the language a little bit, Smash. I'm gonna focus more on the history part of it.
That's cool.
Because the language frustrated me, and apparently I was advised by my bigger brothers that I should probably relax on the language because it looked like I'm not gonna get it on my own.
Focus more on learning and less on teaching.
Nah, but I was advised that I should focus more on the history and that part because when I do take an official course, I will do better.
That's word up. What's up with Shares Move?
Shares Move, man. What's going on?
What's popping? Ain't nothing going on.
What's up, man?
I just woke up, saw Smash on the live, so
Yeah,
on in.
Yeah, I was over here bored. Like, what I'm about to do? I guess I could work. I've been editing a lot of video. I've been learning a lot of the AI stuff and diving into that. But I mean, I spent a month straight. My last month, I've just been learning that stuff.
Oh, you need to teach us then. We need to have a workshop.
Man, that shit ridiculous, bro.
So things are better than Runway and
yeah, I mean everything every week. But them subscriptions cost so much.
Right.
That I'm glad I got a business that I run that need that type of stuff. Because just to the head, it'd be crazy. I can't imagine a content creator trying to build a channel able to really afford all of them AI platforms. But the one that give you unlimited use when you pay Like I think I pay like $84 a month to. That's like cable bill or some shit. That's
Yeah.
not no little internet. You know what I'm saying? Trying to play around on the computer subscription.
Right.
That's some real shit. I mean, you know, some people like, what? That ain't nothing. But if you a grown man, you got five daughters, and you got to run. Everything count.
That's
So
right.
exactly. So I'll be looking like, man, what these subscriptions is bogus. But the one that'll let you do unlimited if you pay like the $84 a month is Runway. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be looking forward to that Commos that we get
Yeah, that would have been cool, but I've been having to focus on some, more lucrative shit.
oh, like like musical videos or something?
Yeah, all kind of different shit. Like,
Okay.
just
What?
thinking about all the people who ain't learning that and how you can be that person that help. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
every time new technology come out is an opportunity for us, especially us entrepreneurs and hustlers and people who trying to figure out, man, people don't know how to do that shit. You could just be running up in businesses and telling them what you can offer and provide for them, and then show them that. They be like, damn, you can do that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, 1,500 or whatever you want to say. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think what would be nice, boy, I would love for us to get together and do like a live action comedic movie.
Yeah, you know what? I seen some some Hebrews is working with their AI movie right now.
That's
Nah, we need to do a live action Smash.
Well, we talked about all that stuff, but those ideas that don't come to fruition, they out there. Anybody can further them and push them along. You know what I'm saying?
I would love to do that because you can't write that kind of dialogue that you're getting from the actual Stella. You can't write that dialogue. That's the perfect dialogue.
That's true. That's true. Hey, Smashed Up. So you've been working with the bots too?
The bots.
Yeah, like I've been trading a lot, right? Not to get off subject, but they starting to use the bots to help in trading.
That's not new. I mean,
Right.
that was out before AI, but now they probably got some AI bots. You used to could just make a trading bot right there on KuCoin, and I've used those bots, but I haven't been trading.
Okay, they got some new ones that's out now that they making money. They're making
Yeah,
real.
that shit ain't real, bro. I mean, some of them will make money, but that shit have you. I mean, I tried this shit hella times.
You did?
And
Oh,
I was like, why my shit ain't doing like this? It's always one of those. You feel me?
right. Yeah,
But I ain't saying that you can't have no success with it. I just haven't had no success with it.
true. Yeah, I've been having success without them though. But what's popping tonight? What's the
Ain't
late?
nothing. I mean, I just chilling, whatever y'all want to build on. What's up with the Star MK? I
Hey,
just seen him in the chat. Peace to you.
Oh yeah, what up, Sar? Long time. What's been happening with Reggie?
I know I ain't seen Reggie in a minute. I think he went live. He been going live from Africa.
Oh,
yeah,
in Africa?
so
No,
he did a
Africa Online.
he
Oh,
did
on his,
a
yeah.
Did you see the show that he did about the Hebrews getting high? I mean about the ancient the ancient Israelites getting high?
Nah.
You saw that Shazmu?
Nah.
Yeah, he did a show where he said that what they found was remnants of ganja, where they used to burn it with dung and get high, like weed and all the type of hallucinogenics.
I might
I
have.
always thought that burning bush story was something about a hallucination.
Yeah, they used to burn it. They used to use animal dung, and they used to burn it with frankincense.
Well, I don't know nothing about that.
It was a ritual. He did an actual academic report on it.
That was in a primary. He got that research from a primary.
Yeah, he was quoting articles and things. Yeah, they found actual residue.
No, not article. I mean, but that was in a Stella or something, or they like
No, they found residue. They actually found residue, and they did a report.
they found residue of cocaine, but then they come to find out that the people that was doing the research probably was getting high and spilled something on me.
No Shazmu. They actually found it in the old incense burners. They found the dung.
Oh, okay. Somebody asked the question. not to cut y'all off, I've asked this question for years. How did the Bible get Kemet names correct if Champollion deciphered in 1800s? So it's not really that they got Kemet names correct. They got a few popular words correct that were already known to have been left over from their time. So if you think about it, the only names we find is what? Taharka,
Yeah.
Ramses,
Yeah.
and I don't even think you find another, and Pharaoh, right?
I would say Amen. Amen.
Amen ain't a Pharaoh.
No. Oh, you talking about just Pharaoh?
That was actually, okay, well, they did say Kemet names.
Okay.
So if you want, but they don't necessarily attribute that Amen to that. You see what I'm saying? And how do you guys chime in on that? I just know that some of those names were left over from other sources that had nothing to do with the decipherment of the hieroglyphs. Like they couldn't confirm those names with the glyphs, but you could go back to sources left over from people who dealt with Manetho and his works and the names of he gave a king's list.
Right.
Before
the Greeks kind of touched on a couple of little things in between too.
Well, he made this king list for the Greeks or for the Ptolemies.
Oh, the question was about the king. I didn't really hear the question. The question was, how did they know about the king's list?
No, the question is, how did the Bible get Kemet names correct if Champollion deciphered in the 1800s?
How did the Bible get Kemet names correct?
Like Ramses or like Taharka, they're in the Bible.
They would have had, they more than likely would have had the sources in other languages other than just.
Yeah, they had different sources. It was particularly a king's list left by Manetho that Josephus used. And then
Greek.
Yeah, I'm going to say that they actually got a lot of stuff from the Arab work. So we never credit our African scholar like Dul Nun al-Misri, the Nubian brother who started the decipherment with Al-Wadiya, one of the Arab cats. So they got the Nun right. They had a few letters right concerning. So they had already started the decipherment then. What I would say Champollion, Ackerblad, and the other people did was kind of add on to what they had and then were able to decipher it over time. But they were already saying some of the words back then. So it wasn't like it was undeciphered or, Egyptology tells one story, the actual history tells another. So you may want to get into your Arab sources as well.
Right. And not only that, if we just go back and say, okay, what's the oldest Septuagint when it was being created, and we go back to the Greeks, that's before Champollion. So, and then like Smash was saying, the Ptolemies, and then what Joey was saying, that stuff was being, spoken, written down back then, and not only in Medu Neter, but also in Koine, in the Greek. So, I mean, that's way before Champollion deciphered, found the and then you talk about Manetho during that time. So that's easy to say why those words like Ramesses and why Taharka and I don't know if I can't remember if Pianki's in there. Not Pianki.
Not at the time. But the Arab research is way before all that. So the Arab research is going to give everybody a leg up concerning like how they were deciphered, some of the letters that were made out and how they were bringing those into Arabic. And so when you look at a list in the E.A. Wallace Budge book, it's easy to see that they're connected because he was able to use the Arab research, him and Brugish and Eric or whatever, however you say the dude's name, the German dude. So those are the things that led him to be able to get those names early for your Bible.
Yeah, I remember that research that they talked about with the Arab dude, that had the Arab research that had a few of the letters correct, and then Champollion was able to use
But you're right. Are you right about that? But what he's talking about didn't require decipherment because they didn't know none of that shit. All they knew was Ramsey's name and Taharka's name. What else did the Bible know?
Right.
They knew Ramses, Taharka,
They had
and Pharaoh.
Hezekiah's name, right?
And Pharaoh, right?
They
Well,
had
the Bible,
Hezekiah.
Yeah, they knew.
the Bible talks about Ramses
We
too.
talking about Egyptian words though
Oh, Egypt.
in the Bible.
The Bible talks about Ramses in there.
Don't it
Yeah.
say it say it got
Pharaoh of the-
Ramessi in there or something like that, right?
High,
He's the Pharaoh of the.
Or did they say Pharaoh? Oh no, they said they went to the city of Ramesu or some shit.
Ramses? Yeah, he's the Pharaoh of the Exodus.
No, but I know, but they don't say that there. But is the name Ramses in the Bible, or did I mess that up? If not, it's
No,
just
you're right.
Taharka.
He's in there.
Ramses is in there.
Yeah, Par Ramses is what they say. They're going to the city of. So that's what I'm saying. That city survived way longer. Even while Metal Netter wasn't deciphered, people knew of that city name and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Genesis 12, 10,
But
20.
here's another statement by Todd Barbie. He says, "Hey Smash, one time I heard you break down how Moses and Pharaoh in the Bible couldn't have happened because times doesn't match when they use the word Pharaoh. Can you break that down again?" I don't understand that to be nothing filed away in my memory as one of my ways to discredit Moses and the Pharaoh. But from what you say, that apparently seems to be true. So if I stumbled upon that in one of my discourses and was like, oh, it don't even match. It is true because they didn't use that term Pharaoh in Kemet. You can't find that in no text until probably about after 26th dynasty, 25th dynasty, or after. I don't know that word which that ain't even the word for the king. That was like the big house. It might be a little bit earlier, you know what I'm saying? But when they started using it for a entity who was the leader in Egypt was way late Egyptian. That's late Egyptian. And so that would be correct, Todd Barbie, that title Pharaoh, it was the Nisu.
Isn't Pharaoh a Greek word?
No, so he talking about what it actually comes from. Per-a-a.
But isn't that a Greek word though?
That's a Babylonian word.
No,
Per-a-a is Egyptian, two words.
Yeah.
Right.
Pharaoh is the one that it refers to in Greek.
Exactly. So when they heard the word per-a-a, they said Pharaoh. You know how that works. But it wasn't. They was trying to say something that was Egyptian, so essentially it got an Egyptian etymon. So Pharaoh is Greek, but per-a-a would be the great house is ancient Egyptian.
Yeah. Like I always tell you, Smash, Europeans can't pronounce ethnic words.
That's bullshit, bro. I don't know. That type of logic won't get you far if you got in a real debate. They'll be like, "What is you talking about?"
But Smash is true because
it's not true because half of the ethnic words we know we learn from Europeans.
So let me ask you a question. Why is it every time you hear white people try to pronounce Tupac name, they can't pronounce it properly?
Or name a name of some ancient Indian people. Just give me a name of any Indian tribe.
Chippewa.
Thank you. How do we know that name Chippewa? You think white people can't pronounce Chippewa?
I wouldn't even know if the name is ancient or not because we think these names are ancient, but some of them are not.
All right, well, we still know whether it's ancient or not that it was supposedly an Indian tribal name, correct? And you saying they can't pronounce tribal name? That's nonsense, bud. Like, why would you? I don't even know how you could build that argument. Give me an example of that.
I just said they can't pronounce Tupac.
Not all white people.
You saying they can't pronounce Tupac?
No, plenty have a problem with pronouncing the name.
There's some that make that mistake, but you can't.
But it's not. I mean, not now. When we point out mistakes, they are universal. Some people who black can't say Tupac.
Tupac, yeah.
Tupac.
How many black people you know can say? I've never heard a black man mispronounce Tupac's name ever.
All right, I ain't necessarily feeling that because they got something about mispronouncing shit on purpose for disrespect.
Okay, all right. That's probably a fair assessment too.
Yeah, so they know it's Tupac, and they're gonna say, "Oh, who Tupac?"
Okay, well,
Or they gonna be like, they gonna know her name is, what was her name running for the president?
Kamala.
But they gonna say Kamala.
Kamala.
Kamala is how it's pronounced, yeah.
It's actually Kamala, huh?
But they gonna say Kamala.
But it's Kamala.
They can say Kamala.
No, but
But you saying they don't have they can't.
Yeah.
But that's a bad example because I think that's a bad example because she was pushing a wrong pronunciation all the time because people didn't know. It's Kamala. It was never Kamala.
Or we don't even need to trip off that. They can say both options.
Right. That's like tomato too.
They can say both of those too.
It's really like an accent.
I don't even understand where you was going with that, Joey.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're making me realize I might be going down the wrong path. So,
but you're welcome to go down there. Just show us what that was about to lead to. What if they couldn't pronounce certain words? So what conclusions did you form based on that false hypothesis?
It's not a false hypothesis. There's certain ethnic names that white people can't pronounce.
Just give me an example.
They did intentionally mispronounce they couldn't pronounce it. They had no guide on.
I'm just gonna tell you right now, it's not hard to pronounce per No, a baby can say per
You laughing?
A baby can say per
Well, let me help Joey out for a second. I'm not gonna go on the racial thing like white and black and all that stuff, but there is a story in the biblical text that talks about if they couldn't pronounce a certain word correct, like shibboleth or sibboleth, if they couldn't pronounce a certain word, then they knew that they weren't from their particular tribe.
Yeah, we know that too. That's not what we're saying. We know that too. Like you come to Oakland and you say something wrong, then you know you said the shit wrong.
Right.
Like that's just not limited to nothing. That's because they out of the culture. But then if they become a part of the culture and they hear the use of the term, he's saying no matter how much they use it, they just don't have the ability to pronounce that word.
No.
So it would be more like Asians with the W. They don't usually say R, so everything is a W.
Right.
Because their language lacks it.
All right.
So they usually
right.
Well, so when you go to Germany and they see the W, they pronounce a V. But if we told them what RW sound like, they obviously know how to pronounce it because those are white people who gave us the W.
All right, so watch.
It's just difficult for them to say it though, like because they don't have it in Japan. When they say it, when they try to use an R, it usually comes out W. So when they talk,
it comes out like an L. I know what you're talking about. Like
yeah. So, or if you go to the Dutch, everything used to end with an F. So when they start to speak English, unless they practice it really hard, they that's kind of how they sound because everything ends with an F. And that's not like a disrespect. That's just how their accent is because the lack of use of those sounds.
But Assad, don't have
disrespectful. What about hold on, Joey? No disrespect, but what about when Smash used to say the word of bush when it was vertebra? The word book.
Yeah, a lot of people used to say word of butch. I used to say it too, and then I had to think about the German cut. I was like, and then when he brought it up after that, I was like,
When it's over to Germany, it's like, what? You mean the
same
principle?
But what about it?
It's the same principle involved. He had no cultural reference, just like Greeks would have had no cultural reference for certain pronunciations, and we still have no cultural reference.
Because they're right there. They're right there with us to learn it, but because of their lack of use of certain words, they're going to have different pronunciations as well. If you hear some of them say a SAR, for instance, like you had a couple people in chats when I would put AUSAR, they was always spelled it wrong. Look, no, silly. If you look at the word, it's an A with a dot over the top.
I like what you broke down about the Japanese, and I think it's pointing out a difference between not he's saying don't have the ability to say it, whether they practiced it or not. Not that ain't in their normal everyday usage. He like they can't pronounce that because if there was an instance where they were frequently hearing this term first, let's be clear that we're not correct on the ancient Egyptian pronunciation either. That has to be noted. It could have not even been per so how do we know they couldn't pronounce it? It could have been very close to Pharaoh.
That's facts.
Well, here's what we do know, Smash. We do know that when we're looking at Plutarch, that's about more than 100 years after them occupying Kemet, and they still couldn't speak Medu Neter.
That's a whole different point. And you don't really speak Medu Neter, but that's a whole different point. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that goes back to kind of the same thing. They have no reference. They can't pronounce certain things they don't understand.
No, well, it would come down to.
So, but remember something. In order for them to speak Medu Neter, they had to mix it and form Demotic and Coptic because
the language of the ancient Egyptian was called Rani Kemet. And then the script, one of the scripts they wrote it in was Medu Neter.
Right, I understand that. But when you talk about Demotic and Coptic, those are scripts that, if I'm not mistaken, the Greeks would have invented to be able to pronounce words and understand their language better because they have the reference.
So here's the thing. The language of Demotic and the language, even half the language of Coptic is still Rani Kemet. That's why we got to understand when we're talking about a language or a script. A script is just something you write a language down in, right? So for instance, Nefer is the word for beauty. If you write it in the Demotic script, the word is still Nefer.
Right.
But isn't Demotic mixed with Greek, or am I wrong? If I'm
No,
wrong,
not Demotic.
Demotic is Greek.
No, Demotic.
The script.
Demotic was brought out by the 25th dynasty Nubians.
Yeah, but it becomes the Greek language and text.
Demotic becomes the Greek language. You got a source for that?
That it becomes it's what they started writing.
Man, you gotta go restudy that.
Their script.
The Demotic was first brought out at about the 20, right? They say 10 years after the end of the 25th dynasty. It ain't a Greek in sight.
No, I think you're mixing. I think you're thinking I'm saying that the Greeks created it. We know Egyptians created it.
Oh, you said Demotic became Greek. Okay, I hear what you're saying. You said, I hear what you're saying.
That they created it. Yeah, we know who created
that's my misunderstanding, not yours. It was my misunderstanding. You saying that script is where they got Greek from.
Right.
I hear you. I'm not necessarily saying I agree, but I do hear that. I do know that script, it looked a lot like Arabic, and it could be found a lot before a lot of those cursive scripts. But Coptic is the one that seems to be the precursor to Greek.
Yeah.
And Coptic don't look like Demotic.
It doesn't. And we talked about that before too.
Yeah, but that was my misunderstanding.
No, it's all good.
Yeah.
So does the word we saying that per and then Pharaoh. So would that be another example that be Egypt and Egypticus or what the hell am I trying to say? Ptah, the house of Ptah.
Wait a minute.
The spirit of Ptah.
Hukah-Ptah?
Yeah, Hukah-Ptah.
What about it?
Would we say that that's the same?
What he's trying to say is when they talk about Egypt, they explain that when they went into Menefer and saw Hekapatah, they thought it was a whole country, and they renamed it Memphis, and later it became Egypt.
Wait a minute, I'm lost. So you are, I'm just temporarily lost because I haven't been studying. But Hukah-Ptah is definitely in Memphis, correct?
Right.
Okay, keep going.
But what he's trying to say is if you look up the word Egypt, they give you the story of Hekapatah.
Man, that might be fake though.
Well, I mean, but Maybe.
Got another pronunciation mistake?
No,
I mean, that etymology of Hut Kapata might be folk etymology.
what they're trying to say is the original name of Egypt would have been Hekapata, and the reason why they're saying that is because they said when they came into Benefer and saw
Man, I think you messing that up.
city. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's the story that
They
everything.
wasn't saying the original name of Egypt was Hut Kapata. They're saying the term Egypt came from Hut Kapata, which was a building in the city center of a festival. They would travel. So here's the thing. It's kind of like us saying, you know how we go to Vegas?
Yeah.
But a lot of people will say they're going to the MGM, right?
Yes.
Feel me? And
Okay.
now we know if you say you're going to the MGM, you either saying you're going to Atlantic City or Vegas.
Right.
Well, they was using Hut Kapata from far away, like saying we going to the MGM. And the people around there just was eventually, I don't know this to be true. I'm the one claiming it might be folk etymology. But because Hut Kapata is the house, y'all know the house of the spirit of Ptah. It's
Yeah.
just a building. So no ancient Egyptian thought that was the name of Egypt.
No.
Of Kemet.
No, but what they're saying is when the Greeks first came in and they saw the temple, it was so big they thought it was the whole country.
Man, listen to what you be saying.
I would no, but
They
listen,
saw the building and thought it was the whole country, bruh. Like, listen to what you be
The country was
saying.
named after the building. That's what you probably mean.
Yeah, say that better.
Plus, yeah.
Because you know they didn't think the building was the whole country, Joe.
Right.
well, let me rephrase it. My understanding is when they came into the area with the temple, they probably thought that that was the entire country, and they didn't know they had more to the country.
That they had reached the full extent of the country.
Memphis was the whole
I would
country.
Because
believe that.
remember, they went to Memphis, so they had to travel a long way before they got
Yeah,
there.
they traveled hella far to get to Memphis, bro. Like that whole
I don't know,
analogy
but-
ain't really working.
That is my understanding of the story. I could be wrong.
Here's what's probably going on, right? This is probably what's going on. When they got there, and we can use this as well, because what do we call a house? We call it a het, because we use Egypto speak. But they said hoot. And when you say it, you say hoot, because that's how you heard it.
Mhm.
So hoot ka pata. They probably got that. Manito's list shows Hephaestus is first. And Hephaestus would be pata. And
Hephaestus.
they said that, huh?
Hephaestus, you mean?
Yeah, Hephaestus. That's pata in the Greek list. So they use him first. And remember what it says. He said, oh, and he was probably divinated as he lived as a person, but ended up being divinated, blah, 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 blah. So they probably thought that was his location because he's first and he's the father of Ra in Manito's list. They probably considered that that was his house. It was his spiritual abode. And they probably started calling Egypt that particular thing at one point in time, possibly.
That's interesting.
But I don't believe the Hut Kapata etymology that they give us in scholarship. They don't got much behind it. Somebody just proposed that one day. A scholar just proposed that in like the 70s, 60s or whatever, and they've been rocking that, repeating that ever since.
Yeah.
Probably.
I remember looking that up, like to see where they got that from. We could go look up we done this before. We did Hut Kapata before.
Well, I just looked it up in a dictionary, in etymology online, and that is what it said. And then it said that Hekapata was simply the name of the place, saying that it really has no linguistic link to the word Egypt at all.
All right, think about this. In the ancient Egyptian vernacular terminology, where is Hut Kapata located?
Memphis.
Well, that answers your question.
Memphis.
If they thought it was in Menefer, and Menefer was one known, they didn't even think it had nothing to do with all of Egypt.
Right. Well, apparently the etymological dictionary says it was known as Hekapata. It was in Menefer. They called it Memphis, and later on they started calling it Egypt. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I remember reading in
The ancient Egyptians never called it Egypt.
No. They're talking about the Greek. They would be referring to the Greeks,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah, okay, well, that could be the
That is how
case.
it came about. I don't know if that's true.
That could be the
They say they
case.
start calling it Aegyptos, Aegyptus, Egypt, and that's how it came to.
But but the point I'm making is there is no linguistic origin between any word in the ancient Kemetic language and Greek in that way. So they just had to make up a story to say where the word
Well,
came
what do
from.
you mean? Yes, there is, but
What word in the ancient Kemetic language is an etymological link to the word Egypt? If I'm wrong, you're correct.
wait, say that again. Not
There's
Egypt, you're
no
right
actual.
about the word Egypt, but you said the whole Greek language.
No, I'm saying there's no etymological word for Egypt in
Yeah,
Greek.
that might be right. That might be right. They try to make up one with Hoot Kapata. That might be 100% correct.
Right. But we also understand that technically speaking, Medu-Neter is not really related to any other language in that sense.
Now, Joey, going back to your statement about white people can't pronounce certain words, you mean to tell me? No, check this out. You mean to tell me that the Ptolemies or any of the quote unquote mercenary Greeks that in ancient times that affiliate themselves with Kemetiu, that they didn't learn any Ronnie Kemet?
What I would say to you is, if you're looking at something in the 200s CE, right?
Okay.
Which is probably more than 100, at least 100 years after they came in, and Plutarch is struggling.
That's about right. 200.
No, listen, and Plutarch is struggling and stumbling and bumbling to talk about Medu-Neter because he said these people do not talk about these things outside of their house. They don't tell us anything. So
that's one person. That's one stranger.
Understanding the language and having the ability to pronounce it is two different things.
But if you don't understand the language, how you can pronounce it?
You saying that if somebody taught them it, they would not have the magnitude to absorb it.
But what I'm saying, Smash, is it took them a long time to even find someone to teach them because they said in the document you read by Plutarch of Isis and Osiris, the Kemetic people did not talk about anything other than everyday.
But even better than that, no one taught them that. They figured it out.
How would they figure it out if nobody taught them?
What are you talking about? That's how we know it.
No, we didn't just figure it out.
Man, we didn't figure it out. White people figured it out.
They married Kemetiu and
I'm not over assessing shit. Who is Champollion?
Exactly. French came
but
late.
At the time when they first came in and this was over 100 years later, and he was still fumbling and bumbling, trying to explain what he meant. He didn't understand what he was saying. He was just making up words.
Are you serious?
Of course, Plutarch was making up words. Man, Plutarch was making up words.
Oh, well, why are you going to Plutarch? Because he didn't figure it out. I just said the one who figured it out was Champollion.
Right. Yeah. What I'm saying is,
he wasn't making up the meaning of words. That was the understanding from the Greek side. Remember, he's learning from his Ethiopian girlfriend, and he got most of the definitions right. So this, I think I remember the documentary that you was watching when they first said that, but he appears to have gotten most of the things correct.
It wasn't a documentary I saw. I was reading of Isis and Osiris, which he wrote, and he was trying to describe some of the glyphs, and he was stumbling and bumbling, and he was making up names. And he himself said, these people only talk of their everyday thoughts in public, so they were not telling them everything.
Yeah, but you also got to realize that's one historian.
No, he said in particular, he was talking about what their names meant. So he was saying Set's name meant this and chaos, and they referred to it when it's thunderstorms and what have you. And this is because he's telling the story of Isis of Set and Asar and how it turns out. And most of those things he said in there are correct. We call Set's name chaos. we
But
call and we
but
call them typhoon. And when they
sorry,
had a typhoon, they referred to it as a typhoon. So what would you say he got wrong? And I know one that he got wrong.
he was
but
called daemons, which is demons in Greek.
he was
What?
called.
He called them daemons, which
But
are
that's just a
That's what they
different. That's
refer
just
to him
yeah,
as.
I know.
Yeah.
That's just how they get down. Like we got a modern scholar,
nobody.
Rita Lucarelli, who's writing a whole book on demons from the ancient Egyptian perspective, and she breaking it down how they weren't demons to the ancient Egyptian, but from the Greek perspective, this is what matches their analogy of a demon.
Right. He made that up, and he also made up this black land, red land thing. He made that up. Nobody taught him that he made that.
I don't even know what we talking about really right now, bro.
The black land, red land.
Yes, when he was talking about why they call the place the black land and red land, talking about dry land and all that food.
The Greeks do call it that because of that, but
He
the
didn't
Egyptians
seem to
call it
make
that
up what
because
he
of that.
said.
The Egyptians called it that because of
We
the
know.
people.
He said it was because the black is the, I mean, they call it that after the blackness of the eye, Camille.
But he also went on to give this whole black land, red land explanation that people still repeat. And he made that up.
No, he don't get the one people repeat. He get the one that asks clarity to the pseudo one that people repeat.
Right.
He didn't say nothing about black land, red land. He was said that they attribute blackness to things that are moist, damp, and have life-giving properties or something like that. And redness to that which is fiery, arid, and dry.
Where did he get that from? He wasn't quoting anybody when he said
I don't know what his source is, but he's giving his account.
I told you.
But see, every time you that's far, real quick.
Teacher was
before that, you wasn't saying where did he get that from. You was trying to make a complete different point. And it's unfair to just switch up just to keep your antagonism of whatever he's doing going, to switch up once I make a point about something. Now you're like, well, where did he get that from? That's not what you was saying at first. First you was saying it wasn't, what was you saying?
I'm saying to you, he quoted them saying they call themselves black after the people of the eye. He didn't quote where he got that whole idea from.
No, you were saying that people get the red land and the black land from Plutarch. Okay, when I said that's not what happens, you switched up and just didn't address.
No, I didn't switch up.
But you didn't address that. I pointed out that ain't what Plutarch said. He didn't say nothing about the red land and the black land. Could you acknowledge that?
Whatever he said, he didn't quote anybody saying that. He quoted them as saying they call themselves black after the people of the eye. That is what he said. He didn't say he got that from ancient Kemet. He didn't say anybody told him that.
But I don't know. It's like shadow boxing. What is your point? What are you arguing for? Like, what are you arguing? Are you saying all of this to say that?
The point, yeah.
Are you saying all of this to say that they can't pronounce words? Because that was your initial contention. Then you just start throwing out hella facts. Now we over here.
We went somewhere else totally now.
No, but clear up. If you're on the stand or whatever you're on the floor, you are allowed to have a clear discourse, but you can't just be rambling shit just in order to show some discontent with white people.
My initial point was it took them a long time to understand the language. So for over 100 years, they were just babbling, in my view, and talking like.
But I don't disagree with that. But why they didn't know it, nobody else knew it either.
I disagree with that because I said
that's what I'm saying. They
at certain points.
Go ahead.
At certain points, I believe that Europeans or outsiders that came in did learn some of the language, but then when the language began to wait a minute. Then when the invaders came in and the language began to quell or quote unquote die, then it became a problem when other outsiders started coming in and trying to figure out what this stuff meant and how it was said.
So let's just go back to ancient time, not ancient, but when it was Greeks there and they was having requests done of the Medu Neter. And they was like, write my name in that shit. And they wrote Bernice and they wrote the Ptolemy's names in the Medu Neter. Do we think any of them ever got to a level to where they was like, my shit ain't right? Or they just was like, okay, you wrote, just like black people who get Chinese tattoos, right? We never know if that shit really say that.
Well, this is what, well, this is Smash, that's a good point. They made up a spelling for their name because it's a Greek name. So
No, they didn't do that though. I'm saying that it actually pronounces their name, but it doesn't translate their name back to ancient Egyptian. But that is evading the question. The question is, do you think they got to a knowledge level ever to be able to confirm how their name was written in ancient Egyptian, or was they just like us with Chinese tattoos?
Not at first. They would have taken them away. Not at first.
Remember, half of them learned from Egyptians in the first place. So all the great scholars learned from Egyptians. And they tell you so-and-so taught this one. So-and-so taught this one. Pedo-Cyrus taught so-and-so. So
I agree, but we know.
You don't want to make stuff up.
No, but we know that based on Plutarch's writing at that point in time, which is at least 100 years after, they didn't really understand Medu Neter too well because they were fumbling and bumbling trying to explain it. They were not that they were wrong, but they couldn't explain it properly like we could now. They talk about
Apollo had issues explaining certain things.
Yeah, I don't think no one is arguing that Greeks walked in and knew the ancient Egyptian language.
Pretty sure.
I'm saying it took them a long time to understand.
But look, this was the language the people of the nation spoke. It wasn't all magical like you're trying to make it. Now, this is because you got a confusion between these different scripts and certain things that are, but think about it. If you just came in and I had to greet you, I'm going to greet you in my language. I can't prevent you from picking up on that, dude. Like it's natural. Just like if you go to China in 6 months, you gonna know some Chinese because you hearing everybody talking.
Facts.
I would agree with you.
Ni hao.
But it was 100 years later, Smash, and they still fumbling.
What do you mean it was 100 years later? I don't understand the sense you're making. Okay, 100 years later, let me ask a question real quick. What language did the ancient Egyptians speak 100 years later?
What I'm saying
to you, still spoke Rani Kemet.
I'm not, what I'm saying to you is, we understand that according to the dating of what we're talking about, Plutarch, this was at least 100 years after they came in.
You still not making no sense. That don't make no difference.
They still can speak the language very well. Why? That's my question.
There's no exhibit. You acting like you read Plutarch hella much. There ain't even no exhibit in his book where he trying to do Medu Neter. Everything he said about ancient Egyptian deities and shit was in Greek. That's what he explained to you earlier. Asar, he called him Typhoon. He called him Osiris. Where do you got Asar? Where do you got any attempts to call them by ancient Egyptian names?
So why was there no attempt?
Because you said he was fumbling and bumbling. Now you saying, so why is there no attempt?
Plutarch was.
So you recanted. He wasn't fumbling and bumbling because he never made an attempt.
Of course he was.
Where did he attempt to speak Medu Neter in his book?
He was fumbling and bumbling. He was trying to explain Heru. He was trying to explain old age and young age, and they couldn't do it because he didn't understand the Greek.
But that's not making your point. You're talking about an explanation or an understanding of that. Or you switching from pronunciation. Pronunciation don't got nothing to do with understanding.
Couldn't learn. I think they had a problem learning.
First, you just was saying they can't pronounce certain words. Now you want to point out what they can't understand.
They can't pronounce certain words. They wouldn't be able to understand it because they
can't pronounce it. Man, cut it out, bro. That discourse is getting trite. Let's go to the next subject.
Before we go to the next subject, let me ask this.
Wow.
Who was married to Cleopatra?
Wasn't it one of them Caesar dudes or something?
Yeah. Right, but don't know. Don't know she's African.
It was her brother or some shit. I don't know.
My point would be, do you
Nah, it was the
think
Greek and then the Roman dude.
Ronnie Kemet?
Pardon me?
But what they're saying is we don't know if she was actually Kemetic or she was mixed or what her actual ethnic background was.
Well,
So-
all right, but is that what you just asked, Shazmu?
That's what they said.
I was
Yeah.
trying.
Yes. They had several they had
Let
several,
me answer the question, all right?
they had
So-
several Cleopatras who were married to them, but they're not sure if they were actually Kemetic or whatnot. They don't know.
But he didn't ask that. He asked what they spoke.
I would assume Greek. Like I would assume they spoke Greek, because we think they were probably Greek. They were
So
married, so they probably spoke Greek.
So you think Cleopatra was totally Greek? She wasn't mixed. You don't think she knew her?
I don't think historians know. I don't think historians know.
I don't know much about her.
From my understanding, they think that she might have been at the most mixed. She may not have been pure Kemetic.
I think they would have spoke Greek too, right? Like just like I think the American occupiers, when we went to Iraq and occupied it for 15 years or whatever, I think they was over there speaking English. But I'm telling you, the ones who sat there in Iraq, even Americans, learned some Iraqi language just if they interacted with the people. You have to.
And I totally agree with that, because I lived in Korea for a whole year and I learned how to speak some of the language.
Right. But remember something. When you're speaking Korean, you would not be able to pronounce it as well as a Korean would.
Well, that's fine, but they can understand you. Exactly.
If I say Anyagi Sayo or what's another way? I mean, it's not. How many different ways is there to say way?
Man, I agree, because I remember how to ask for some wine in Japan, and I asked the dude at the counter, how do I ask for wine one time? He told me one time say this, and to this day, I repeat that statement, and people be giving me some wine at the bar. So it's not as hard as you think.
Be like, Tadaima.
I don't know if it's, now I think this might be Hebrew, but it's Al Hatso Yain. Either that's Al Hatso Yain might be Hebrew. I can't remember the way to say it. And maybe that's Japanese. One of our followers, one of the people watching could say whether that is bad Hebrew or Japanese. Al Hatso Yain. No, yeah, that might be Japanese, because when you want to say you want something in Hebrew, you say roche, right? Well, what's the word for to want?
I think it is roche.
It might be something like I ain't studied that shit in hella long. But I remember that statement. See, and if I would walk up into the bar and say "Al hot so yang," dude, give me some wine. And so I'm not saying it right, Joey. You feel me? But he know what I'm trying to say.
He has an accent when he speaks Japanese.
Okay, I feel you on that one, Smash.
Let me see which one that is. Now I need to see if that Japanese or
I'm
Hebrew.
not gonna give up on my point, but I'm gonna digress at this point in time because.
Let me see. I want. I'm trying to see how you say I want. So Ani Roche. Ani Roche would be I want in Hebrew. Right? I'm gonna have to Google that now. Come on.
Yeah, Google that.
Oh, you know I'm right, bro. I don't be messing up. I want in Hebrew. I want in Hebrew. Hebrew.
And we know how to say.
Look, what that say right there? Ani Roche. Stop playing with me, bro.
I don't see it.
Ricky Rose.
Oh, y'all don't see that screen? Hold on, let me show you the screen.
So let me start some trouble, Smash. Play.
You don't start.
So that was Japanese. So yang is Japanese. Because look what this say right here. I want is Ani wrote za, right? But that za got an H on it, really. It's Roger, like Ani wrote. But if that's, let me see if I can press the button. Do y'all see that now?
Yeah, Ani wrote za.
Yeah, okay. But so.
Okay, let me
see something.
I can start some trouble, Smash.
Hold on, let me see if I can make this play. No, I can't make it play.
I want.
Because I was going to try to hear how it sounded. Go ahead and start some trouble.
I was watching when Jabari, on Sunday when Jabari and Zion Lex was having a discussion, right? And I saw Zion Lex put up something from the Papyrus of Ani. And you know, the man looked at the word seshu and translated it as on.
Wait a minute, say it again.
He looked at the word seshu,
Seshu.
which means writing.
Seshu. So he looked at like a it was one of those ink pen things. I mean,
No, he had taken a passage out of the Papyrus of Ani, and it was saying Jehuti was writing in the company of the gods. So it said Jehuti, and then it had Seshu, and then it had the rest of the line. He looked at the word Seshu and said on.
Well, he was wrong.
I know it's no big deal. What's the matter with that?
No, I'm just saying
You could have corrected him humbly. That don't say seshu, that say on, right? I mean, that don't say on, that say seshu.
What I'm saying is he said it with such a wrong and strong attitude, trying to point out, say, well, Jabari, you need to learn Medunecha, and went through a whole
Show us him do that. You got the video?
It's on Saneta.
Come on, pull that up. Come on, pull that up.
Is that video 10 years old?
It's an old ass video.
Remember when they was debating that John and Tazariak was
if you go
moderating.
into
remember Zion was like, I find it strange that
the recent video. It's a recent video.
Thou shall, but in the Bible we say thou shall, and the Medu Netter says thou shall, and I'm like, it don't say thou shall.
Who said the Medu Netter says thou shall?
It was a replay of an old debate.
This is funny.
So people don't really be tripping of how much they be learning translations and not learning the real stuff. You learning how Europeans translated it. You get in the mind of the 18th century European.
But I don't even. But
not you.
I was tripping off that. I was tripping off the fact that you're telling me people taught you Medu Netter, and this is what you're doing.
They didn't know. Zion probably knows better now today because he's still. Zion probably knows better now today because he's still.
He should have known better then because he took a class. You can't be doing those things, and then come up and try and bash Jabari, saying Jabari doesn't know what he's talking about, and he has to politely correct you. He took a class. He didn't make it up, so he should know better.
Well, did Jabari defend himself?
I'm sure Jabari. I think Jabari mentioned that it was a poor translation.
Because Jabari is when it comes to reading the Medu Netter is not the best of the best.
Yeah, but it's not that bad. Anybody who's read a grammar book knows what the word sesh looks like.
Not everybody.
Of course you do.
I know I do, but not everybody.
Everybody who's read a grammar book should know what the word sesh looks like.
Oh, what happened?
Everybody who read a grammar book should know the word sesh.
So what, man? Jabari ain't really the linguist like that.
No, I'm not defending anyone. I'm saying, but you can't come on there grabbing your testicles, talk about a man should be learning Medu Netter, and you can't translate Medu Netter right. That's my point.
I don't disagree.
Right. That's all right.
But pointing out that Jabari messed up on some Medu Netter ain't really.
Jabari didn't mess up. He mistranslated.
I'm just saying, we all know he teach better about things that I don't know that good, like the spirituality and shit.
Now Zion know that Hebrew though.
Zion be messing stuff up. You know that Hebrew though.
Yeah, but you can't say you took
Medu Netter a little bit.
That's somebody for not taking the class. That's my point. You can't talk big and bold and tell him that he should have been doing something 25 years and then mess up. That's my point.
But it was that's why when you get in a debate, man, you got to be ready. You can't,
But this is my point. You can't come on there bashing a man and then you can't read the Medu Netter yourself.
Well, if the other man can't, come correct and see where your mistake is at, then
he did correct. He did correct.
You should have enough skill to be able to see them as, like, for instance, me and KOT had a debate. KOT pulled up a picture of the Canaanites and said, see, look, we're captive in Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
And so I made him pull the picture back up. I said, what do that say right there? He said, well, that's a Hebrew. I said, read He said, "Oh, I can't read it." I said, "I can. Let's read it." I said, "That's a Canaan. Are you a Canaanite?" "No, I ain't no Canaan." "So what you claiming that you a Canaanite for? Matter of fact, you claiming their language is Paleolithic Canaanite, not Hebrew. So you claiming they look,
He
you
played.
claim you
Right,
my man
but
KOT.
but this is the point that I'm making. Everybody wants to brag and grab their testicles, and when it comes to reading Medunacha, they can't read it. They're mistranslating and arguing with you who knows more than they do. That's my point.
You don't
can't
got,
get
you
the
don't
wrong
get caught
truth.
up like that. You don't got caught up like that. Put on the map.
I would have never got caught up like that because I know better.
You got caught up on this show on Smash's YouTube.
Now that I know better now, you'd have never catch me mistranslating the word like you never catch.
Every time you say, but I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong.
All right, but you'd never catch me misreading the word sesh.
Oh, okay.
Definitely not. I'd have misread everything else.
You got that locked in. You got that locked up.
I wouldn't have misread sesh, and I wouldn't have misread Jehuta. I probably would have misread the rest of it.
No.
But I ain't better than that. Anybody who's take
But we caught you misreading other words, though.
yeah, but not sesh.
So what? How you just gonna say yeah, but not sex?
Right. You call me misreading other words because I don't know Medunacha. Really.
Bro, you coming down on him for the same thing.
No, he took a class and he took a class on it and he was bashing the man for that.
One class.
I didn't do that. I didn't do that. I'll be the first one to tell you.
Who was he bashing?
Jabbar.
He bashed Jabbar and told Jabbar he's doing what Jabbar should have been doing, learning Medunacha. And that's my issue. I don't come on here bragging because I know I don't know Medunacha.
I thought you was just bashing Jabbar.
No. Zion Lex is the one that misread it, not
okay.
Zion.
So I'm saying I can't come on here holding my testicles against Smash. I would never do that because I know I will embarrass myself.
I believe you would embarrass yourself against Zion if y'all had a certain topic.
Not in that case. Not in that case, definitely.
Oh, no,
I don't know. I think Joey might know more Medunetta than Zion. Zion's still in the dictionary. He ain't read nothing on screen. He just be dictionary and pointing. I ain't no disrespect to the good brother. He seemed like a cool ass dude. You know how some of my best homies, we be on some we be having contingencies. So I don't take nothing from Zion, but when we talk about how his level of Medunetta, I'm not about to. I think he know his ABCs and shit and can say that word is Nefer and that word is Amen. But you throw up a whole script and he get to reading it, I'll be surprised.
But the last time he did that presentation, Babylon Dunn, who you challenging, brother? Who you trying to battle, Babylon? He said Medunacha Papyri Declaration of Innocence versus Torah Bible commandments for men speaking and writing for a God. Ghosts, aliens, devil.
I don't know. I don't think those two things are in competition with each other.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
I mean, that used to be the whole stance because we take teams and we choose. But I don't know.
Joey, go ahead and take that debate against Zion Lex on
brother.
Joey Zion my cookie.
Brother, I'll be the first one to tell you. I'm not gonna take no debate about Medunacha. Now, mind you, I could probably hold my own, but I may not win that debate, but I'm gonna go down swinging. But I won't take no debate like that because that's.
What about Hebrew? What about Hebrew?
Say it again.
What about Hebrew?
I can't speak near Hebrew, but I could tell you, people who are religious tend to not have an understanding of what they're reading because they want to make it into a biblical story.
You could read Hebrew though.
You
just wouldn't know what it's saying.
No, but remember something. You have to understand. Just because you see a captive man, it doesn't mean it means a captive man. Because a captive man could be about 5 different things that don't have anything to do with captive.
That's why I said you could read it, you just wouldn't know what it was saying.
Right. What I'm saying is when you see them having a quote unquote captive man as an a'amu, That's just the way that they saw the Amu. It doesn't mean that they were captive. It means they saw them as subservient to the
That's
Kemetic.
just a determinative for foreigners. You're right. It's just a determinative, unless the word says something about being a
Right.
captive.
But what I'm saying is, in essence, if you don't know, it is a captive man. But that captive man figure could be a determinative for 5 other words that have nothing to do with captive necessarily, such as Amu. It just means they're subservient people to ancient Kemet. It has nothing to do
It
with
just
them
means
being captive.
foreigners, man. Foreigners.
Has nothing to do with being captive at that point in time.
Watch this. Let me prove. I'm gonna prove point real
Yeah.
quick. Let me share my screen smash real quick. Where's this? There it is. I'm gonna show you, Joey. You could. Oh, host disabled sharing.
What you about to pull up?
Some Hebrew. Joey gonna be like, he gonna read it.
Oh, you trying to share the screen?
Yeah, yeah.
Go ahead. Oh, yeah, I'm tired. I ain't really tired.
What time is it over there?
Just got out
It's
that
about to
damn
be.
truck.
It's
Can y'all see
11:45.
my screen?
Oh, y'all early over
Hey,
there.
real quick, you gonna watch that fight tomorrow, Asar? It's Usman. It's an Atlanta UFC fight. Usman against
Usman and
the youngster
what's his damn name? Yeah,
Buckley, right?
he be smack. He be
He a
knocking dudes
beast. He
out
about to
too.
dog
You know,
Usman,
Uzi
dude.
train. He might Uzi train out here with us too. That's why I'm like, I don't know.
All right, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just knew you'd be watching them fights.
Yeah, we should call. We should start calling them. I need to get a subscription.
We should have some fight party watches.
Start commenting on the fights through a whole new channel. But go ahead. What you showing us?
Is it up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See the
Okay.
medical.
So, Joey, what is this right here?
It looks like an ox head.
And how do we usually call that?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
You don't
Don't we
shoot us.
usually say ka and
I thought we said cop.
yeah,
That's not a car.
it's a K. What is this right here?
That would be an H.
That's the pictogram. You
Before
see what
H.
it is right here in the Hebrew.
Okay.
Same thing.
Okay.
What is this right here?
Isn't
F.
that?
And what's this?
That looks like the same thing.
I.
I told you. If I go to this
But
one, this is supposedly this is Canaanite.
But that wasn't. We'll go back. I'm tripping because that one is messed up.
The jet says F on it, doesn't it?
That ain't no F.
That's a jet. I don't know why it says F.
That's DJ.
Oh yeah, my bad.
That's Jet. They took it as a horn viper. Now
The
the horn
other
viper is
one
similar,
is an
but they
F.
didn't they didn't put that.
Yeah, they should have put the
DJ is
horn
the F.
viper. Yeah.
But you see how quickly you figured that out? That's how it goes down.
Well, so I never said that there's no linguistic correspondence between these languages. I never made that claim.
No, I didn't say you did. I said you could probably read it, and you did.
Well, of course. Who doesn't know what a jet looks like?
You read it with ease, didn't you?
Yes.
That's that Hebrew from 1800 BC.
Right.
Paleo.
Paleo is over here.
Right. Well, we know that there's a connection because when you read the older dictionaries, all of them have the Hebrew and Arabic in the dictionary with the Phoenician as well. I think Budge's dictionary has it. So they make that comparison.
Father's Day in a couple days.
Sunday.
Gotta get ready to go see Pop. Yeah.
Superman about to come out.
What's about to come out?
Superman and Fantastic Four.
When do they come out?
Superman is July 11th. And the Fantastic Four, I think, is July 28th or something like that.
Yeah, I saw the trailer on the Fantastic.
Yeah,
I'm going to see both of them.
Yeah.
Y'all know them new theaters that got the big ass seats?
Mm-hmm.
Them go.
Is it in like 4D?
What they call it?
I ain't seen 4D yet.
4D was in Vegas, and it'd be like if it's raining in the movie,
It's
you
shaking.
get kind of wet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's too much on it. My daughter said some blood splattered and she felt it all on her face and shit.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? I don't want that. I'm like, they doing too much.
Yeah.
You wiping stuff off you in the movie scene hella bloody and shit.
The seat shake and all of that too.
Yeah. Be
Oh no,
vibrating
that's
or
too much
something going
immersive.
down,
That's too immersive.
popping up.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, it's not
Boy, I went there watching somewhere. I came out, my back was hurting, no kind of thing. I said, I'm not doing that again, huh?
That's like putting on the VR in a horror movie. I don't want no horror movie in the VR, bro. You all in the middle of the horror movie. Take this headset off.
Did you guys see Sinners yet?
So what?
I see which one.
You see Sinners?
I saw it.
See,
That was.
you said Sinners or what?
Yeah.
Sinners. Have you seen it
Oh,
yet?
Sinners.
I've seen Sinners, but let's not spoil it for the people who haven't seen it.
But it's a very interesting movie.
Yeah, I seen it though. It was alright, you know. So I'm not about to mess nothing up, but yeah, it was alright.
You know there was.
See,
You know the indigenous people, they were really Choctaw, right? They were talking.
That was what the same
They were
tribe we was talking about.
They were really Choctaw, and they were speaking their language in the movie.
But white people can't pronounce that, huh?
I don't. Smash. I already can see you go rub it in. I did a whole video on how not to use sources based on our conversation. Okay, to tell people don't do what I did, because I didn't jump out the window. I jumped through the window while it was still open. Although Smash was gracious, but I just
go in.
I jumped through the window while it was still open, and Smash was gracious enough that when I landed on my face, he picked me up and knocked the glass out of my ear and was tending my wounds and still didn't make me feel bad about doing it. So I appreciate that. He's like, "Hey, bro, you're good," and he was slapping glass out my ear while he was wiping the wounds and putting Band-Aid on. He didn't say nothing about it, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, he looked
and I blame you, Asar, because you made me go and read the instructions of Ankh Shashank and then explain to me that it was fictional, huh?
The instructions of Ankh Shashank?
Yeah.
They're fictional?
Pan African said, man, they dropping bombs and start talking about Superman.
Oh, I like to change up for a minute. It's all good.
But Asar didn't tell me it was fictional. He didn't say that when he read it. Got me reading it like it was like it was really burning.
Oh, so you was reading the instructions of Shashank and thought it was real?
Well,
yeah.
It's
the instructions are passed down, but the story before
I never heard of that
kind of a farce. Yeah.
Yeah, but smart. But Asar, you didn't say it was fictional, and you had me quoting the thing like it was.
Only his beginning part is fictional. Like, yeah, when they talk about him going to jail and all that stuff.
So did they burn people alive? Was that true?
When we looked at Burned Alive, we did find people getting burnt alive, huh?
Yeah.
Part of the story true or no? Where they burned the people alive. Was that true?
That's supposedly the part that's phony in the beginning, but I don't know how phony. But the instructions are what I was turning you to, and I had to, because Joey be jumping out the window on Kalam show, and the British dudes be trying to get. I'll be like, oh, I gotta defend everybody in here.
I have to say that, man. You made your brother jump out the window. Not jump out the window, jump through the window while it was closed.
Boy.
All right, I'm about to change the subject way too hard for something I just seen while I'm surfing the net.
IMAX.
I just need to ask y'all, do y'all think this is true? Look at what I just seen, bro.
Share your screen.
Are y'all looking at this?
Yes, come.
There it go.
$1,300 for this jet boat on AliExpress. Car boat.
You
I
know,
wouldn't.
that's
You tripping.
That's fake.
that's
I'm
got
sure it's real. I'm sure that's real. I wouldn't buy it, but I'm sure it's real.
I mean, it's just like a jet ski. You know what I mean? What? Like, why? If it's only 1,300, why wouldn't you just press buy now and see what it do?
Yeah,
I'm sure it's real. I'm very sure that's real.
It's gonna be hella slow, huh? You think this real?
1,300.
Yeah.
That's real. I'm sure that's real.
All right, I didn't want to throw y'all off for too long, but that's crazy. Huh?
You need
I
to
would buy it.
see what size it is though, because it may not be.
It might be kid size.
Yeah, it might be like a remote control type.
Oh yeah, it looked tied down. I mean, I ain't even on it like that, but I just wanted to show y'all that. But y'all can keep going. I didn't want to throw you off.
Man, I really smashed. I really, really, really looked through them texts. I really didn't find nothing about people being burnt alive. I looked through all them texts. I didn't see nothing like that. And I looked through it again to see I would get smashed, and I couldn't find nothing.
And they done burnt cities, so I'm sure people got burnt alive. But that, like, as far as like a
Yeah,
ritual,
but I couldn't find an attestation of that, so I had to concede. Anything that talked about burning people alive was considered fiction.
no, Smash found something.
Yeah, when I was doing it, he pulled some stuff up.
What did I
What do you-
find?
Well, he
something.
found Asiatic, but
When they found like
it was chopped up though.
when they was killing the kids, and what's it called was saying I was saving most of the people from this, that, the other.
Burn them all.
Hey, ain't Trump? Oh yeah, Trump about to have a parade.
His birthday today.
So the 13th or the 14th?
I think it's today.
Saturday?
Yeah.
And they really doing that bullshit.
Yeah. And they trying to get people to go, and they can't get a lot of people to attend.
Man, they was just trying to buy fake people to attend, huh?
Spending all that money.
Man, this is disgusting. So I'm saying, so this shit, people just gonna let this shit happen?
Let that man have his parade.
Who's that?
What? Let the man have his parade, so he a king now?
Yeah. Let him rock.
Who's that?
That's some passive
Right,
bullshit.
Your boy.
Raheem Traore.
That's the
Yeah.
type of response men say when they ain't got no answer to shit they don't like.
And what was that?
Let him rock. You feel me?
A hater. You
That's
feel
just like when we start saying, I ain't got no problem with shit we know we got a problem with, but since the world got you in the corner, if you say you got a problem with it, you out here anxious. So the man won't be like, I ain't really got no problem with.
Who's supposed to have a parade for the birthday smash?
No distractions.
Huh?
Who was supposed to have a parade for the birthday? I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, we just was talking about how life be. But it was based on Trump. So I really said his response, let that man rock, was really just an answer because we can't do nothing about it. You know what I'm saying?
Trump have a birthday parade?
Yeah, you trying to be like Kim Lee, Kim, trying to be like Putin and shit. Have hella army people in the middle of the street marching down the street.
Wow.
They say the soldiers is not with it. They said we about real action. We ain't about no
They are
walking down.
they are well within their legal rights to refuse that. That is not a lawful order. They're well within their rights to tell them hell no.
Bullshit.
They can't do anything about it. Exactly. They're well within their rights to tell them that. Who you think he is Khufu or something?
Pan African James said, "Play that bombs over Egypt."
Play that bombs over Egypt. I'm
Bombs
over here
over
looking at some
Over Gaza.
shit.
Over Gaza.
Yeah, bombs over Gaza.
And you know what? What do you think about Israel firing off on Iran?
Man, that's kind of crazy. But now they're over there going back and forth. But they tried to hit their nuclear facilities. They hit them.
Yeah, and killed a bunch of people.
Man,
I mean, like super soldiers of Iran.
so I think we faking like we not down with Israel right now and still supplying them with shit.
Well, how you Smash. Since you and I babies, we know that the United States been supporting Israel since we small. We've been hearing that for the longest time. Since 1980, how long? So we know that's not true.
What's not true?
We know that the U.S. has been down with Israel for the longest time.
Oh yeah,
Green light.
definitely.
Green light.
Since Yasser Arafat, they was bombing the living daylights out of Yasser Arafat. So we know that the U.S. has been supporting these people.
Man, it's about the oil. Yeah. It's about that.
Because remember, those people came from somewhere quite in Germany. And in 1945, the British gave them half the people country, saying that is their ancestral homeland. And that's been a beef ever since then. They don't come from there.
Mm.
And technically, some of the Palestinians don't either. But the point is, they split the country in two and said, this is your homeland. And that's been a beef ever since.
Mm.
That's fair beef. They say, with this ancestral, we've been here forever. You're bringing these people from some other country to come here and take over half of our land and say it's their ancestral home.
Did y'all see the stock market drop today?
Say it again?
Did y'all see the stock market drop today, supposedly because of that?
It dropped hella much.
It dropped and it recovered about halfway. Did you buy the dip?
Wow.
What was about it?
No, I ain't been on that.
I jumped in on the S&P and made a quick 3.
That's good for you.
You see, what do you guys think about these protests in LA? These immigration protests.
Man, shit, all that's fake.
Immigration protests.
That's California.
Immigration protests.
Oh man, that stuff is stupid. I mean, you know what? I'm not with that. I don't know if you call me conservative, whatever. I'm not fucking with y'all. If I go to any country and try to sneak my ass in and stay, and then fight to stay, they gonna beat the brakes off me. Cats is lucky that they not getting the brakes beat off them. Like, I'm just telling you, I don't understand that liberal bullshit. Like, some motherfuckers could sneak in, hop the fence. Even if you sneak in the club, you getting kicked out. So how the fuck you can sneak in the country and be like, why black people ain't helping? Nigga, get the fuck up out of here.
Yeah. And you voted for the one that's going to do
Now,
it.
who thought I felt different about that shit? Y'all got me fucked up. You think I think some motherfuckers supposed to be able to hop the fence, sneak the fuck in, and we take all our motherfucking resources trying to help them out? That's illegal. I can't hop no fences and stay nowhere. So
what was we gonna do to the president of the United States anyway? You voted him in there, you goddamn dummy.
Dumbasses. If y'all would have kept them, if y'all would have kept the motherfuckers who was fucking with y'all in there, but y'all want to hire the motherfuckers who don't like black people. So get the fuck out.
What about the senator? What about was that y'all senator that got manhandled by the police?
Pardon me?
The Spanish senator that came in talking about, I'm Senator so and so. I got a question. It was interrupting somebody's
ICE just slammed his ass or something.
Yeah.
But now that shit crazy. Now that's the part that's crazy. So these motherfuckers is running around like the real Gestapo slamming senators. Nah, I don't support no motherfucker who snuck in no shit and trying to say, oh, we came here, we having hard times. Motherfucker, get in line. Everybody having hard times. Your ass having hard times. You from a whole nother country. You hopped the fence and swam through the river. Man, check this out. If they say it's time to go, I ain't in the way.
But don't you think that was a Beto O'Rourke move where he tried to come in and interrupt Texas governor and try to put him on blast, and then the Texas governor says, "Sit your ass down." But but then this dude, he gonna try to interrupt some female senator, and they put hands on him, and now he crying. No, he was trying.
Who look for that?
He was trying to make a scene.
Who put the hands though?
Police.
The police.
They snatched
police or ICE?
I think it was I think it was like the police.
Capitol Hill Popo was like Voodoo Bip.
Yeah, man. Apparently they drug him out because he was tripping. But look for that. You can't just run up in the Senate.
Man, I don't be caring about none of that shit.
And you're not supposed to be able to put hands on the senator.
But I ain't fucking with no dudes like all the struggle we go through, and then there's some motherfuckers who snuck in. I'm not talking about. All right, look, don't get it twisted. I understand the struggle. I don't want your ass like, look, I don't want nobody like families that's really that integrated into the society and done all that. I'm thinking he fucking up the way he doing that. That's not right. But don't get it twisted, man. A lot of the shit we don't even want to admit how crime has changed so much, dude. I'm not blaming that on nobody, but I know my own community. I know my own hood. Niggas know where to put graffiti. Now graffiti going on the wrong shit. How come graffiti going on the wrong shit? Because you got motherfuckers who don't know the rules, who just bum rushed in the country.
Right.
So Smash, you think it's fair that you're gonna take these people and send them to some prison in wherever the hell they're sending them? That's mad. That's crazy.
Wait, what did you say?
But Trump is deporting these people to some prison in one of these in South America.
No, I'm not with none of that shit. Well, I don't know nothing about that. I just
Yes,
know.
it says deporting people to some prison in one of the countries that agreed to send them there.
No, so
Oh, he back home. He back here in the United States. I ain't gonna say
yeah,
home.
well, no. So you confusing two different things. That's the deportation that they were talking about of them criminals or whatever from that he was accusing to be with MS-13. Unless I'm incorrect,
Nah,
you
you
trying
right.
to tell me that the family members that they putting them in the prison and that I'm not with that. I'm not. I will get out though. I'm not with that. But if you snuck in, you're supposed to do it right, bro. Like I don't have no chances in the world sneaking in no nation.
But what justification for sending people, your criminals, to another country? That is mad people thinking.
What you say?
You know, Trump had an agreement with one of these horrible prisons in one of these South American, Central American countries to send people there. That's crazy.
Or
I don't know what you're talking about. What did you say?
I'm gonna tell you like that. When Hebrew Israelites, Ethiopians, and other Africans try to get into Israel, and they be shutting them down, and they have less than a 1% conversion of refuge in their country. This is Israel. How you looking at black folk to do anything for anybody anywhere?
Man, I'm just saying though, I don't even understand the argument. All right, if you want to get on some, so this is our land and it was stolen land, okay, then what can I say about that? We all dealing with the way Europeans went over the world, right, and took hella shit. Colonized hella shit.
Africa at any time and reacclimate. I'm not tripping.
well, Africa is standing up. But just check this out though. I think the whole thing is fake because there's jobs over here. Like who in the farm fields picking all that shit up?
Man, Trump just switched up on that shit right on the news, bro. Like he literally came on the news. I don't even understand, is he bipolar or something? Because he came on the news and he was like, man, we can't just be deporting all the farmers' workers and stuff and all the workers from hotels. We got to figure this out. And I'm like, huh? Who called your phone and cussed you out? Some billionaire, trillionaire farmer called his ass like, man, you on some bullshit, bro.
Yo, he done flipped everywhere. Look, we came in.
I love it.
With the Russia deal, and then of course Ukraine is an ally. Russia is not, but he's been trying to get a power in Russia so bad for so long. He like, listen, Ukraine, I know you have to come to the table better. I'm like, what the heck is going on with you, B? That's our ally. He just left him out to dry.
Yeah.
You're trying to join hands with Russia, and it's about to be World War III as it is.
When they letting that dude do everything,
2027.
So this whole democracy sham was just a bullshit that anybody could have just did what he doing at any time, and it would have showed that if the president just said, "Nah, we doing this," that other branches don't even got nobody to do nothing.
Ain't
They
nothing
don't got
to
no army. They ain't got no police.
it, right?
Like they just gotta say, "I'm the judge. I said do it," but I ain't got nobody who can make you do
But we was taught different in school.
Yeah, ain't no veto bill happen yet.
Right.
The checks and balances ain't checking and balancing.
it. And
It's
then
just
they
him
on
saying, "I'm gonna do this," and it's getting done.
yeah, and then they on the news talk about it's gonna be a crisis of democracy. What the fuck? This shit fake.
It's all fake.
Shit's fake.
Distraction.
That's like somebody tell your car running and then you get somewhere. That shit, you know what I'm saying? And you be like, what the fuck? I thought you said it had checks and balances.
It don't run.
Oh, bro, that part, if the radiator just go out, it just go out.
Fake news. Fake
That's
news.
what they tell us about Trump. If he just go out and go ham, ain't nothing nobody could do. What? What law is that?
Part. Nothing.
Especially if he got his boys who with him, the Gestapo. Like, okay, who is ICE, bruh? How you hire that many people and train them that quick? So I'm under the understand. Let's have fun real quick, because nobody know what that shit mean, but I'm going to give y'all the best guess. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Now, what y'all say? You gonna go with mine? See, that was good. I'm good at acronyms, bro. You gotta go with Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, and then to let you know that ain't got shit to do with you.
Homeland Security.
Like I'm saying, what is ICE? Can we know if that's right? Just take a guess. One of y'all guess. ICE. What that mean?
Yeah,
Immigration
and Customs
Control.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement. That's exactly what it is.
It is that? Okay, cool. Because now I was always tripping how they just dropped the popo off the ICE, because police got ICE at the end. Then I was like, they dropped all the policy off that shit and just hit you with the ICE. Because when you do the etymology, the poly in the police is about policy. So they was like, fuck policy, we just hitting them with ICE, bro.
Damn.
We're done negotiating.
See, that's a wordsmith for you right there.
I mean, I seen it like that, like, dang, it looked like they left the POL off and they just put ICE.
Right?
Yeah, that's it. Straight up and down. That's what's going on. That's crazy.
But I mean, now just for you, black man or whoever, immigrations and customs enforcement, is they looking for you? Motherfuckers don't get to protesting when it's housing authority. They know they looking for you. And it ain't no riot in the motherfucking streets. Here come housing. Oh, shit. Go protest. Nope, they don't give a fuck because it's affecting black people. What about probation officers? They know they coming for you, so them motherfuckers is not in the streets protesting. But now immigrations and customs don't got no business with you.
Right.
They ain't got, I can pull out my passport right now.
Because you're not
Right.
listen.
Well, listen, Trump said the only people who are allowed to be natural born citizens are former slaves, huh?
14th Amendment.
You know, he said
That's
that.
That's us.
And I don't got enough guns to feel secure as I need to feel. Well, at least not enough ammo. But it ain't no other, man. Fuck all that other shit. Ain't no other answers. You just got to have your security right. I mean, you gonna just choose what it be. Because this shit falling apart, right? And they pushing out Gestapos already. You just gonna be having to choose how you going out. I'm glad I had a beautiful, I'm glad this just all been cool. Because please, cut it out. What's next? Like, what's next if Trump keep pushing line? They gonna have all kind of shit popping.
I want more.
He said, "I want more." Like, oh, shut. to eradicate these cats.
No,
Let
it's
me
just
get off
about
of
this.
here.
It's
My girl
about
coming back.
this. Is what I'm
The
talking
baby, I'm
about.
gonna holler at y'all.
Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you. Go ahead.
Nah, I said I gotta roll out my girl coming in here with the baby,
Oh, okay.
knocked out.
Well, thanks for tapping in.
I'm
We
gonna holler
still.
at
I'm
y'all
gonna
in a
be
minute.
live probably all night because I'm just on one tonight.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in the YouTube chat.
I had a song later
All
on.
right, man. Be easy.
What I'm saying is this:
What?
that scary feeling ain't nothing gonna take that shit away, bro.
Nah.
You know that motherfuckers be having that in the back of their head about what the future holds and shit. Only shit that take that away be some ammo. Whether even if you gonna never use it or not, just sitting on that shit just feel good. You just be like, okay, cool, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying, what the hell? I didn't create that. They put it in the Constitution for that reason. Like, motherfuckers shouldn't be sitting around scared. Motherfuckers should be able to bear arms, bro.
You the militia now.
Not me. Hell no, I'm a normal American citizen. But I'm saying, so when shit start to fall apart, you get this feeling that a lot of people don't address. At least if you're a provider, a securer, and a person who have to make sure shit going right. What if the security of the whole nation start falling apart, right? And then shit start getting
Yeah, well,
grimy, and things start getting targeted, and shit just ain't fair. And on the how you gonna deal with that?
Now
Well,
you just said that twice or three times. What's falling apart? I don't see what's falling apart. What's falling apart?
oh, okay. So,
really?
well, if you
That's
don't
who?
see that when you have people on major TV talking about there is a potential crisis in democracy because the president ain't following orders of the other judicial branches that are supposedly supposed to keep them in check.
That shit fake.
No, brother.
That's what's falling
No,
apart.
no. No.
I think it's going. I think everything is going along.
The man is supposed to be under the judiciary and the Attorney General of the United States, and he's doing what he wants to do. That is why they are separate branches. You can't just say, I'm going to deport people and do what I want to do, and fight people, and the court tell you to
He put those judges in their
no.
places.
Say again?
That's what I'm saying. That's part of the orchestrating of the
He's not
helping this shit go the way he wanted to go.
right, but
He got
the
out.
Dude, they be talking about arresting judges who oppose him, dude. Like,
Yeah.
that's some crazy shit.
Yeah.
So I was not saying in no gloom and doom, like, oh, I'm just simply saying when you get that feeling that those securities are there, it don't be nothing else that really make you feel cool but sitting on some shit.
yeah,
For me,
but at the end of the day now, if it comes down to dealing with the government, we can't win that war.
ain't nobody talking about that.
I'm cool.
Like, that's definitely not what we're talking about. But you got to understand when this is how things happen. We, particularly in this conversation, is not black people. We is the Americans who ain't fucking with that. That's a lot of people.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Right.
But at the end of the day, we cannot look at people who are from these countries and say they're not black, because that's not really true.
Wait, what are you talking about, bud? You straight be switching the subject.
Right.
I'm missing.
Because that's why we letting him rock out. Because we ain't fucking with none of that bullshit. We just holding.
I'm really trying to figure how you said something about people ain't black right after what we was just saying. It don't even fit in the discourse.
My bad.
I'm trying to see how it fits in.
I went somewhere else. Sorry.
I'm just trying to see, though. I ain't mad at you. I'm like, what do that got to do with it?
That's probably my ADD. Sorry about that, Smile.
We talking about the whole world, like, against. So let's go back so people can follow what we saying. We talking about the U.S. president not following the orders of the other branches that's supposed to keep him in check and shit, right? For instance, if a judge say do this, he like, well, I don't really know. He said he don't know if he need to follow the Constitution. And we're saying you said we can't win that. I'm not talking about nothing against the government. What I'm saying is those who are against him doing that ain't a we of black people.
I
That's hella Americans like this is fucked up.
I agree.
Yeah, we on point.
But him though.
Some liberals though.
No, they
No,
say
not all liberals, but that is a good point. But
they
some
say
true fundamentalists who want to keep the Constitution intact is like he trying to turn this into a dictatorship.
I thought, yeah.
but this is why they're saying based on the statistics, 57% of white Americans voted for the man, so they have to deal with the consequences and repercussions.
Well, some black people voted for him too, though. We just be trying to act like we didn't do that shit.
No, of course, but what I'm saying is at the end of the day, what are we jumping up and getting involved in that madness for anyway?
Well, some people who are truly liberal and feel passionately about letting people who snuck in keep on popping. I got some feelings about that. I had some very cool contributing neighbors that were immigrants before, and they just had to make their way in during another when it wasn't Biden. I mean, when it was Biden and stuff. You feel me? And they was some wonderful people. Hella cool, like hella cool. Good to my children, everything. And so when I make my remarks, I think about them and be like, damn, I'm not talking about y'all. And in reality, I'm not. The president just came on TV saying he not talking about the farmers and the workers and the people who are helping. And that's what I mean too. I'm talking about y'all been seeing some of that hop the fence shit on the news, bro. Come on, I don't know who those people are, and my assumption goes with the benefit of the doubt that these is people who got a bad enough situation that they're willing to walk through a river, right? I don't even never think that's a bad person. Think about that. Like if you willing to walk, because if you a bad enough motherfucker, you can stay where you at and just rob people and make it pop for you.
Right.
You don't need to flee if you that bad.
Right.
Trump is gonna say he's not talking about the good immigrants, but if they're illegal immigrants, he's talking about illegal immigrants. He can't make a distinction between the good ones and the bad ones.
So if the world was all black, I would just be just as big on order as I am now. Right? If it was all black and there was some blacks coming from Mexico hopping in, I'd say the same shit. Like, yo, you gotta get in fucking line, B.
Yeah,
that's my eye.
As a president, you can't make a distinction between quote unquote good illegal immigrants and bad illegal immigrants.
But these motherfuckers is the most immigrating motherfuckers in the world.
Right. But I'm saying
white people I'm talking about.
Good illegal immigrants and bad illegal immigrants. They're all illegal. Put them all and let them all stay. You can't be wishy-washy with it. That's like saying I like black people, but they have some good niggas on the planet. You can't do that.
Manifest destiny.
Wait, say that again, though, Joey.
What I'm saying is he's trying to say there's good illegal immigrants and bad illegal immigrants, but you can't make that distinction if they're all illegal. That's like saying I don't like black people, but there are some good niggas and some bad niggas.
No, what you were saying was right, but your analogy's not good. But what you were saying is correct. He can't make that distinction, but it's not like what you're comparing it to. I don't want to go into the reasons why it's not. It's just not the best analogy because.
But what I'm saying is, if they're illegal immigrants, you can't make a distinction between who's good and who's bad.
Yeah, but there's nothing inherently bad about being black for you to make that analogy. No, you feel me? But it's something inherently bad about being illegal. It just breaks the law. So whether you're good in breaking the law or bad in breaking the law, you still broke the law.
Pretty good at breaking the law.
Illegal immigrants are illegal immigrants. There's no such thing.
No, you can't be good and be breaking the law, bro.
I'm talking about dude at the top of the notch. He pretty good at breaking the law.
Well, that's what he do.
He's smooth with that.
I didn't say you can't be good at breaking the law. I said you can't make a distinction and say that they're good illegal immigrants and bad illegal immigrants, because it's wrong to come here illegally. To come to anybody's country illegally. So
find the loopholes, man. Find the loopholes. That's all I say.
Man, this ain't got no, I mean, I feel you, man, African James. I got hella Mexican homies. I hope you don't think this got something to do with that, man. No, that don't got nothing to do with that.
Right,
Like, you feel me? It's just like this. It's just like, if this is a national issue that I'm forced to weigh in on, I got to weigh in on order. Because how could anything work if you weigh in the other way? All right, fuck it, just like, when is you going to say 100,000, 200,000, a million? We let 1 million y'all in undocumented and everybody else got to do it right. Nah, man, everybody got to do it right.
I would agree with you, Smash, but there's grounds for saying that we can give some of them a break. We can't just throw everybody in the pot and say all of them is committing crime and doing something.
Well, it's like this. I'm going to tell you, I can solve the national problem right now. If you filed your taxes last year and the year before, you ain't in no necessarily problem of being deported. See, there you go. Now they got them. See, they ain't even doing that. If I could think of that shit,
that's half the black people problem.
No, but you're not an illegal immigrant. So what is it saying is I need some proof that you contributed to society. And then that'll be easy. Now, if I'm wrong, then fuck it. I'm not no politician on this show. I'm just saying that seemed like something that'd be fairer than just going around motherfuckers up. It'll be like, yo, in 1 year we gonna check who undocumented that ain't paid taxes. Y'all gotta go. What I mean by that, because paying taxes is a contribution to the society, right?
I hear you, York. Yeah, a lot of people don't pay taxes though. They say that,
but you didn't hear my point.
I hear you. I hear your whole point.
But when you say a lot of people don't pay taxes, those people are often citizens who are making options to do what they can with their law as they so choose. They're not people outside the game coming in reaping the benefit and then just saying, I'm just not addressing that shit.
Are they contributing?
Pardon me?
Are they contributing to society by not paying the taxes or whatever?
Well, yeah, I mean, it depends on what you think your contribution is. So a contribution to, and I'm not limiting this to only citizens, but a contribution to the society is not limited to taxes. So some of these, this is why corporations get tax breaks, because their contributions to society is so huge. They like, dude, you ain't got to give us no more bread. You got 50 billion stores in every city.
Really?
But people don't agree with that. But I mean, it's the logic behind it.
They get tax breaks. They get tax breaks because all their rich friends are politicians. They don't get tax
breaks. That's true too, of course. But all right. This is what I'm trying to say. Let's talk in a world that's all black. Let's stop with the race shit real quick. Let's just make everybody black right now. All that same shit would still apply. If you telling me I'm the super billionaire and I got a store in every city, and you the president, I'm about to say, bruh, I gotta pay taxes.
Yep.
Okay, well, I'm about to go.
You ain't going nowhere.
I am. I'm going to the next nation. I'm telling you now, I'm taking my billions and going to the next nation.
And I'm going to tariff you.
And I'm not contributing to, I'm not selling in your country, and I'm not contributing to your campaign no more.
Yeah, okay. You're not taking your money. I'm freezing your account.
But that's illegal.
You made it here.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's illegal.
Why is it illegal?
You can't just freeze my accounts because I'm gone. Who said you can do that?
You can't do that.
You trying to be Trump. You trying to be Trump.
You can't take away people money.
But a corporation could say, yo, we lobbying for these tax breaks. But, dude, you think I'm not no capitalist? The only way you can defeat that shit and beat that shit is if you really truly try to understand it and you know what I'm saying, like you're not gonna get no leeway if you don't even understand the shit.
You have enough behind you to escape. You can't get away.
We understand.
I got the airport down. I got ICE. I got everybody I need. FBI. You're not going nowhere.
Well.
But that's not how that works. You're really in a Trump world. It will work like that in the Trump world.
Dude, it works like that in Russia. It works like that in a lot of countries.
But it don't work like that in America. So if Walmart said, you know what, we closing down, the government would have to take it over and to keep it running. They can't just force Walmart. They say we taking over.
Yeah.
They would, and the Walmart would get hopefully compensated. I don't know how that would work,
They do it to banks.
but they can't just be like, you can't. I don't know how that works. Y'all can say yes,
They
they could
have
force you
to-
to stay
they
in
have to
business.
They would have to compensate the company. We should be comparing ourselves to people like Putin. Putin is a autocrat. Putin is a
Out of
psycho.
national security, you are not nowhere.
Putin is a psychopath. You don't
Oh,
accept
man.
them people. He's not wrapped too tight upstairs.
Propaganda.
It's not propaganda. He's not wrapped too tight upstairs.
So
Putin
what
is
are you talking about? How did we go there? Putin is
He
a
started
psychopath.
talking about they do these things in Russia. I said, you can't compare us to Russia. Putin is not wrapped too tight.
I agree with he said propaganda.
All right. I think Putin killed a couple, 3 people already. I don't care what you tell me.
Oh, Lord.
I think Putin killed a couple, 3 people already. Yeah.
So, how many people have where you stay at? Are you a United States citizen, Joey?
Yes, I moved to Trinidad 20 years ago. I was born and bred in the United States. I only left this 20 years ago.
Okay, has your country killed anybody?
Trinidad and Tobago has never really been in a war.
No. I said you're a citizen of the United States, correct?
Of course. What kind of question is that? They kill everybody.
I asked you, has your
Yes, they kill everybody.
Oh, okay.
They killed everybody.
Okay. So don't be standing on some soapbox talking about Putin.
Brother, I'm saying you live in a quote unquote democratic country. So we would think that the law would stop them from doing what they want to do. To some extent.
Man, this country ain't even really democratic.
That's
It's fake, bro. All that shit fake.
Well,
We be voting and shit. That shit don't turn out like that, man.
we know that.
Fake.
Well then, why we fooling our own selves?
I'm woke.
Listen,
I ain't woke. They slander woke.
I know it, right?
I agree with you. But I'm going to say what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said. He said, we have committed on paper to doing these things, so we should do them. We can't expect the fascists to do that. Or
Man, he's going to whip out Martin Luther King on me. Huh?
You know why?
The man said they have not committed to doing that over there. We committed to that on paper here.
Yeah,
so
I agree with Martin Luther King.
Correct.
You know why they slandered woke, Smash?
Because
you know why they slandered woke?
Why?
Because they want to keep everybody stupid. They want to keep them in the matrix.
Yeah, I know they hated woke, but check this out. Why we be slandering the fact that money is a part of the crisis?
Right. That's for sure. Money is
we hella stupid though. I'm just including myself because we like to condescend and we be at the bottom of the economic barrel. But
right.
We like to hold money phones and shit. Imagine that, bruh. Imagine the psychological surveys that people just be doing when they like sitting in an elaborate ass mansion. And I seen Hassan Campbell like, look at my house. Look at my house. Showing this house on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that's probably never advised to do because obviously somebody got a bigger house always. But secondly, what we be cherishing as the prized possession, it just be some normal shit in America.
Right.
Like our superstars live next to normal white people.
Exactly.
They ain't even popular.
They're living next to dentists and lawyers and doctors.
For real, like Brad and Mark. And it'd be like Jay-Z. Ooh, exactly. I'm at the top of blackness, but I'm normal whiteness.
Exactly. But yeah. I think that, I always say we as African people have this thing in us where we like to flaunt and flex. That is something that's been a part of our culture for a long time.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. I like to flaunt and flex, but I like it to be appropriate. But I don't even like to party when I'm broke.
But it's not the same thing.
Some people can party when they got work to do. I'd be like, how can I do that?
Waste, right? It's like, damn.
Right.
Yeah, we're not like they got this new series, not to promote it, but they got this new series on Max, right? Cinema or Max, whatever. It's called Mountainhead. And in the beginning of it, on the first episode, they got this house way up in the mountains. I mean, one of those super mansions. I mean, where nobody's around, all you see is mountains. So we ain't nobody flossing like that. And these jokers are like 220 billionaire. Another one's like 70 billionaire, another one's like 50, and then one's like 220 millionaire.
It's gonna be hard in somebody else's society, but you could get that rich in your own society. Like that's why we need our own shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But we need to understand that we were never ones who looked at money as something that we were killing people for. We didn't do that.
We was tripping.
That is something that comes from a European standpoint.
We built our own thing.
Say that again?
I was joking. I said we was tripping, but I don't agree with you. We kill each other over that shit all the time, over 10 cents. He owed me $5.
Yeah, you stepped on my
Smash. In ancient times, we didn't kill people over money.
Man, I don't know, man. I can't be on that. I don't know.
Nah.
I don't know. I think in ancient times, if you owed somebody some shit, it was on.
No, but what I'm saying is, as rich as these rulers were, they still would share with the people as much as they could. They wasn't selfish. They didn't just say, "I'm gonna kill people because I want money." That wasn't the reason.
Some did, some didn't.
I know, but I'm saying I agree with you, and I'm not being a certain way. I'm simply saying we, as a people, be killing each other over money, bro.
Now, yes.
All right, now let's take it back to when do you think the time when it was when that came out or when that started?
I think as soon as we started listening to Europeans and making gold and silver something that much more valuable, that is when we did it.
Every answer can't all be Europeans.
Well, listen, I'm not gonna say people didn't get jacked back in the day for the donkeys.
All right, I'm gonna give you because you know you know what I was about to do, right?
The eloquent peasant.
Thank you.
Listen,
it wasn't that one though. It was the next one. Yeah, it was the eloquent peasant, huh?
I'm not agreeing with you, Smash. But I don't think that was a normal thing, just be walking down the road or something
like that.
Nah,
you got an ancient Egyptian story where he get robbed when he went to the South. This sounds just like America.
Come on, man. I don't think that was a normal thing, though. I don't think they was jacking people for the donkeys.
It was normal enough to get put into the story.
It happened. And check this out, Smash. When you said
I would agree.
When you said you think it was on, I think I don't know if they was really killing people, but they was like, I'm taking your daughter. I'm taking your wife. I'm taking all your stuff.
Well, then that's crazy because that would have to be a fight, right?
Right. There's a difference. But there's a difference in saying you walk up to a man, you're the leader of a group, he's the leader of a group, you want his stuff, you beat him up and take it. That's a different story.
Not really.
It is because I'm not
robbing. We just got different weapons and shit.
No, but I'm not robbing him, Smash. I had to beat him up and take it. I'm not robbing him.
That's strong arming him.
No, I didn't rob him. We had a
It isn't a rob. It's a duel. Strong arm.
Not a robbery.
You trying to fight him for his things, bro? Come on now, that's a robbery.
That's how ancient kingdoms were built up. Two men had a fight.
Well, it was not like there was some of the romanticism that it was more just and shit. I don't know about that.
Yeah, but it's not the same thing as robbing him. We had a fight. I didn't just.
Man, you making stuff up, blood.
So you've never seen instances where two people came together?
So when you knock somebody out, you can go through their pockets if you want to. But now you got an assault and a robbery.
Smash. If I want to rule your land and we fight, that's not a robbery.
I just said it. If you have a duel and you get the best of me and you knock me out, you have the option to go through my pockets. But you don't have to. If you go through my pockets, you are now robbing me after you assaulted me.
I don't see it that way.
Tell Africa that, because Africa said no compensation for us taking back our land. Get out.
But that's not the same thing.
It is. They came over, smashed them, and took their stuff.
No. That's not the same thing.
It's not.
I'm talking about I'm talking about I want to expand my territory, so I had to fight the leader of this particular group. That's not robbery. That's a fight to get what I want.
All
Robbery.
right, but I'm saying after the fight, when you take all the booty, that's robbery.
You took it.
Brother, that's not robbery. It's called the rules of war.
All right, well, whatever. But you can rationalize it how you want,
Yeah.
right? But you still taking things from them
That's
Okay.
safe.
by force.
Rules of
I agree with that part, but it's a little bit fairer if you and I have a fight and one of us win. I just run
Not
up on
true.
you.
So if somebody come in your house right now and just because y'all fight, you ain't getting robbed.
It's not the same thing, Smash.
Well, come on, you ain't making no sense. Somebody kicking your door right now, and you give up a fight, but they win, knock you out, and take your shit.
That's not
You
the same.
you didn't get robbed.
That's not the same thing, Smash. We're talking about if I see a territory I want.
He
I
expanded
want
his
to have my
territory.
It's not
Man,
I
both
continue-
wars ain't always fought on mutual grounds. Like, oh, we meet in the middle.
Right, but I'm
Somebody
kicking
coming to another people's land, just like
Right, but
somebody
I'm
coming
kicking
into
your
your
door.
house.
but I didn't kick in your door. I
Well,
challenge you
you
to.
ain't been vibing lately.
I challenge you. No, I
I'm
challenge you
just
to a fight.
saying, you ain't even like. I don't understand why you
all right.
you tripping.
Okay, Smash. It's a fair robbery. I'll concede because he took everybody. It's a fair robbery.
Well, read what James said.
James, did he get charged with
Read
murder?
what James just said.
I can't even see.
Not murder, but attempted murder, or did he get? He should have got charged with a whole bunch of stuff.
James said he got shot and the person was charged with robbery because he took his chain.
I just conceded what I described is a fair way of saying somebody got robbed. I agree. I'm agreeing with you.
Assault with a deadly weapon, all kinds of
So
stuff.
even if a nation comes in and they loot after the army, that's still robbery, bro.
Stealing.
I agree with Smash. I just conceded that what I described was basically robbery, but just a fair way of taking something from you. I agree with you.
Fair. That ain't fair.
That's the fairest way that back in the day they could have put it.
What do you mean fair?
What I'm saying is, if I come into territory and I see and I want to take the territory, me and the other leader would fight for control of the territory.
Okay, well, but that's not necessarily fair.
Well, it was considered.
No, you still aggressive upon those people.
Right.
It was
Fair would be if y'all came to an agreement and then y'all
Exactly, and y'all chose a date and y'all both trained for the shit. You coming all buff and shit, and he's sitting there eating.
Well, Smash. We're talking about ancient times, and that's the fairest way they could have put it.
No, they say fair. We'll have a duel at sunset on the third noon.
Yeah, well, duels was just because I had a beef with you and I wanted to kill you. That had nothing to do with.
Well, I'm trying to describe the closest things we could come to as fair, but some people coming into somebody's city and pointing like, "Who is your leader? I want to fight him." That ain't necessarily fair.
What is aggregate robbery? Is that like aggressive?
Aggregate?
Yeah.
I don't know.
African James said hit that when they came in, shot him and took his chain. It was called aggregate robbery.
Aggravated?
Aggregate. Yeah, I guess because it was aggressive. I don't know. Aggregate.
I don't see that part on the screen.
It's probably a lesser charge as opposed to saying armed robbery or assault with a deadly weapon, probably.
Well, I don't know how we talking about this. What led us here?
I don't know.
You were saying it wasn't happening in Egypt. You tripping?
Right.
No, man. I listen. Fighting is fighting. If I fight you and I win, I get the booty. That's just how war works.
Right, but that's robbery.
All right, okay. All right, man. Okay, Smash.
Have you ever thought about some people fought people and didn't take all their shit?
Well, I would agree, but the whole point if I am a nation fighting against another nation, I'm not gonna fight you and leave you with anything.
So the Greeks.
I know somebody who did that.
Well, that's not how.
He rode an elephant and went all the way to Rome and tried to play by their rules, thinking they would go ahead and submit. And that while he was waiting, they backdoored him.
You talking about Hannibal?
Yeah.
But he didn't take their shit.
Exactly. He didn't take their stuff. He should have. He should have kept smashing.
Well, smash. I said that's the way war usually works.
So what about when Hannibal and them was on one side of the river and the dudes was on the other side of the river? Y'all know that story? When they were smashing out one part of I can't remember if y'all know the story too.
Close to Rome, yeah. Are you talking about when it's close to Rome, right?
Yeah, and that the Romans was on the other side of the river or whatever, and looking at Hannibal just beat the brakes off the fools on the other side of the river,
right.
And just like, oh shit, this is about to be ugly. But I don't know what story I'm telling, so let me just forget. I'm getting
it's clear listening to these Italians and Sicilians, Hannibal took some of them nice Italian women. Clearly.
I don't know about that.
You ask the Italians and Sicilians what they're having to fight for, and you'll understand exactly what I'm
I want to hear your adjectives again. He took some of them what?
Fine Italian women. According to him. Right?
According to who?
So you don't think Hannibal took some of those Italian women?
But you said according to him.
You said according to the Sicilians and the Italians.
When you hear a story, the Italians and the Sicilians have a beef because they say one of them is mixed with black and one of them is not.
Oh, I don't believe that.
Man.
And apparently the reason is because Hannibal ran up in there and took some of them women.
Oh, no.
So that happens a lot of the time, B.
Right.
And some of the time you're not even taking them. Like, let's just be real.
Well,
like, come on, dude. Where they gonna go?
Let's say they mix in with the local population. I would imagine the term booty king would probably have something to do with women, huh? If I'm wrong,
you'll be surprised what'll happen, dude.
Right, but I'm quite sure the term booty did not just apply to gold and silver. I'm sure it applied to women too.
So let me just ask a harsh question right now.
That's the word booty.
What do you think?
I'm not even going there. I'm ignoring that, blood. But let's, because you on some other shit. Like, yeah, I'm just ignoring that completely. We all had that thought before, but it's not worth a conversation. Like, you know what I'm saying? But let me ask you a harsh question, and you can tell me this ain't worth a conversation too, but I'm just thinking. So think about a ravaged village or something like that, where all the men, able men, are really destroyed, and the women are left over. What is the harsh reality there for those women? Or how quick would they say, we just gonna stay here and rebuild with no men? Or are they just gonna leave with the other men like, fuck it, our men got killed, let's go?
Yep.
Well,
what's gonna happen in most instances?
They're gone.
In the wilderness, definitely they gotta be gone, right? Because what they gonna do? Fight the lions and shit?
But the issue is, are they going by force or are they going because they want to?
Well, they're going by a force that was put on their protectors that can't protect them no more.
Right. So all of that is considered spoils of war.
So what happens though? Is that spoils of war, or how many of them say, fuck you, we trying to fight to the end and just get grabbed up while they still fighting? Or how many of them just say, man, we out. We thought those dudes was protecting us.
Survival.
Well, listen, I would think if it's talking about African countries, the women would fight until they can't fight anymore. I would want to think.
Here you go again. In all African countries?
Well, let's say the history of Africa has taught us that African women don't roll over.
Yeah.
For any.
I think that was the Rhone River that Hannibal was
Yeah,
on
I think somebody asked, was I talking about that river? I wouldn't be good enough to tell you if I was, but I do remember that river from somewhere. I thought that was a river in the Caucasus somewhere, the Rhone River or whatever. But I'm not mistaken. I don't know. I could be mistaken.
Well, they did say he came across the Caucasus Mountains on some elephants.
I don't know about the Caucasus. Was
No, I wasn't. See the plot. I
could be
thought the name. I could Google it, but I thought that river was somewhere in the Caucasus. But it's late night, and my memory could be messing up. I ain't tripping.
But I remember them saying he rode over some mountains on elephants.
If it's in the Caucasus, it's not the Rhone River.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't know. I didn't Google it. I'm just saying if it was because the Caucasus, Hannibal wasn't in the Caucasus.
Okay. I was. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I was talking about that river. What mountain range you go through?
He went through the. It's like the French and I think it was France and Italy between. Like I can't. Let me look it up.
But that river maybe ain't in the Caucasus. Then I'm just talking.
The Alps. I think you're talking about the Alps, Chesmo.
Anybody could Google it.
I think it's the Alps you're talking about.
I think so
He
too.
went to the Alps. Yeah, through the Alps. Huh?
Yeah, that river's in France. Yeah, that river is in the Alps.
He said, for the question about women after battle, a good story is the siege of Winsberg, I guess. Winsberg or something. I might listen to that story on my way to sleep tonight.
That was in Germany, at Winsberg. But we got our own story. Was it? And it was a tribe of women. With the Home women.
Yes.
I'm about to see if I can find what's up with some Chinese products. Go ahead. I'm about to Google.
They made a movie about it. Woman King.
Yeah, it's plenty of Nzinga. It was the Amazon where it's women tribes that was fierce that they could get down.
Yeah, but that story about the Amazon came from that particular the Dahomey women. You know that?
Yeah, I've seen it.
No, but the Amazonian women that these Europeans lied about were the Dahomey warriors.
Right.
Because they got the brakes beat off them, so they made up some story about it, saying that they were 9 feet tall.
Who got the brakes beat off them?
After these Europeans got beat up by these Dahomey women, they made up a story and said 9 foot tall women called Amazons attacked them.
Well, we might have been big.
No, they were definitely women.
Yeah, they was. They probably wasn't 9 foot tall though. They just got the brakes beat off.
Yes, so they made up that story when they went back home to tell them that some 9 foot tall women beat them up, but it was the same Dahomey woman that beat them up.
So Smash, the China said it's back on.
China said what's back on?
The orders.
Oh no, I was just talking. I'm waiting to hear back from my customs broker. But you heard what Trump said.
The tariffs.
You heard what Trump said, yeah. That he dropped them tariffs, and now he focusing on other shit. So maybe we can sneak through there. You feel me?
Yeah. How long? I think he said if they don't come to an agreement though.
Well, it was 90 days, and I'm ready for 90 days.
Oh, okay.
I'm still waiting to see how much it's gonna be though.
Yeah. I think they came to an agreement, but they supposed to sign off on it.
That whole thing was crazy, boy.
Xi and Trump was sign off. I think it's like 30% and then 10% or something. I don't know.
Is anybody watching the NBA now?
My wife she watched it last night.
I'll be trying to watch it, but I just go to sleep.
Did Indiana win last night or what? I know they up 2-1.
I think it's tied right now.
Oh, so they lost.
Yeah,
So they lost last night.
Anyway, though.
Okay, see, I don't know who you trying to see win.
I ain't really tripping. I just be watching because I'm getting bored. I stay in the house too much lately. I gotta get back on my outdoors.
Yeah, that arrow, that bow and arrow getting rusty.
Oh, that thing ain't been touched in a year. Has anybody ever flipped over one of those cars? Water car. What are they called? Water cars?
Water.
I'm about to see water car flips over.
It's a hover car. I think they call it hover car or something like that.
You know what do they call them? Harbor cars?
I think they call them hover cars. I could be wrong.
Is that an RCA car or what?
No, the cars, they like jet skis, but they cars for the water.
Oh, the one that you showed in the thing of 13.
Yeah, I ain't never seen one of them flip yet.
That's the first time I've seen a car.
For real?
Yeah, they have them. You could drive them into the water and drive them across water.
I seen them speedboats that kind of look like.
But apparently they developed those cars for the military. They used to have cars like that in the military. You could drive it across the water and then drive it back up on the other side of the shore.
Oh shit!
Yeah, they were military cars. Then they had the old school hovercraft. You just inflate the bottom of it. You could drive up land and then drive right back into the water.
Oh yeah, I seen something like that on cheap.
Yeah, they have cars. They have cars that could drive on water.
But they don't look like Ferraris though. They look like some military shit.
Yes, they were initially military vehicles. That's what they were made for.
Yeah.
They could drive across the water. They were like tanks.
Smash talking about like the water car that looked like a McLaren, something like that.
Did you know that Kevlar was invented for ties in the military, and they found it was bulletproof?
Yep.
Invented for what?
Kevlar was material for ties in the military.
Yeah, I think they use it in submarines or something.
Ain't it still got a military application?
No, they found out through using this thick material that it was bulletproof, so they started making vests out of it.
Yeah.
It was originally like for car tires.
Yeah, they still use it because I think they got Kevlar. I think the helmets are made of Kevlar. The vests, yeah, they still use it.
They want to use. I think they want to use spider silk now. They say spider silk is very strong. But apparently, to get it, you have to work the spider to death. I think they put them on a roll, and when it's going down, they pull it back up, and then the spider keeps spinning until it dies. Apparently, so people like that idea.
All right, man. I'm about to get ready to shut it down. I'm gonna come back in the morning
later.
I appreciate y'all for tapping in, though.
I appreciate it much.
Yeah, come back tomorrow when I'm if you see me live, it'll be all good.
All right.
Okay, peace. In the Middle East, peace in the Middle East. Yeah, all right, let me see. I don't know, I just started getting kind of tired. What's up with y'all, man? I'm about to probably go play this game for a minute. I ain't really hot on that. I'm just bored, so I'm gonna have to work my imagination up. Oh, what could I do? Might go work on one of these jet skis. I just bought a battery for my second ski to put it in to get ready to go ride, and it just didn't start. And so I started watching a video to see what might that be, and I think I might go work on that since I got some time on the late night. Appreciate y'all though. Be back next time. Thanks for tapping in.